Hi everyone, how's it going today? It is cold over here. I'm gonna put my hoodie on, but Mr. James Owens, I know you guys have missed Mr. James Owens. He is been doing some little mini interviews, so I wanted to watch it with you guys. I haven't seen the interviews yet. The only interviews I've seen so far was the one that he did with, I think it was like Fox 35 Orlando outside the courthouse. They got to speak with him very briefly, but I saw that he did two other interviews, one on Court TV and then one on News Nation. So I definitely want to check him out with you guys. Hi, Jenny. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub for 77 months. How are you doing today? Hi, Forky. Hi, Gold Lucky. Taxi. Hello, hello. Michelle, thank you. I adore your videos, sis. Thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate that. Oh, man. I'm here on time for once in my life. I mean, technically, Kay, there's no such thing as on time because I never have a set time that I start my stream. So I'm sorry about that. Hi, Crab Legs. Hi, Marie. Dan, how's it going? How are you doing today? Hello, 112. Hi, Corgi. Love your videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, Terry Mack from South Africa. That sounds fun. I had a friend that visited South Africa recently. Said she had a really good time. Hi, Claire. Hi, Kay. Angel Wins. How are you doing today? Rose Elliott. All right. I just want to chat and vibe with you guys. And then, I think today's going to be a pretty short stream. I just wanted to kind of listen to Mr. James Owens. Again, he's going to talk about the plea deal. The plea deal that Sarah Boone should have taken when they offered her to her before the trial started. And, you know, from what we heard in the grapevine, it was an offer of 15 years. So Sarah Boone, serve your 15 years. You already have 4.5 years. You know, that's already, if you've already done. So maybe at most, you know, maybe you do like 9-10 years. And then honestly, I don't know if Sarah Boone would have qualified for good behavior because based on a lot of the inmate notes, it seems like Sarah Boone kind of liked to push the boundaries a little bit, you know, got on some of the guards' nerves and maybe like sneaking staples and stuff like that. I don't know if she would have gotten out on good behavior, but I don't know what their definition of good behavior is. Is like good behavior like you haven't stabbed anyone, you haven't committed more crimes, or is good behavior like, you know, you followed everything to the T and you're like a super perfect inmate, A+ student inmate. Hi, Haunted. How are you doing today? I lost without this trial. It was over so quickly. I'm lost. Yeah, this trial, it was like 1 week. But you know what? The good thing about a short trial, you can catch up way easier. If it's like a 4-week trial and then you had to catch up, oh man, it would have been a lot tougher. But because the trial was super short, you can catch up. You can do it. We believe in you. We did like 8-hour streams reacting to the trial, but then I also posted videos on my YouTube where I try to condense the trial a little bit and explain certain parts of it, but I kept a lot of the evidence videos. So the reason why the shorter version of my videos are like still 4 hours long is because sometimes the body cam footage are like 2 hours long, or the interrogation. So I kept those in there, but you're welcome to jump around. I included timestamps in my videos, and yeah, definitely check it out because the trial was it went by so quickly. It was super quick. No, I don't do digital games. I only buy physical games. Digital games on my PS5 does not. It glitches out. I have this weird glitch where the digital game won't work and it says I have to do something with the licensing and it's annoying. So we don't do digital games anymore. The physical game sold out and I was like, hasn't Silent Hill been out for like a couple weeks now? How is it sold out? So I'm going to try to go to a different GameStop and see if I can get it elsewhere. West Coast is always on their own time. Hey, Manley, how are you doing today? No, I haven't seen any of the alimony stuff. I don't have access to the, I'm assuming it's all family court stuff, right? I don't have access to that. I remember like, I think a couple months back, I was going to get access to it, but it's one of those things where in order to get access to it, you have to submit your personal information and they approve it and then all that stuff. But I was like, eh. So I haven't read any of the alimony stuff. I'm not privy to any of the family court stuff. Nope. But I've seen videos about it on my timeline, but I haven't watched any of the videos really. But I'm sure the alimony request stuff and all the letters to the judge or any of the letters to her ex-husband, I'm sure they're probably batshit crazy too. I wouldn't be surprised, but no, I haven't seen them and I haven't covered them at all yet, unless they're online a certain way. If they're online in a different way, maybe, maybe I'll take a look at it. My favorite corgi, you know, channel. I've been following the whole time. Oh, are you still like lost? So what happened? Hi, Corgi. 2 live streams in a row. Yeah, I wasn't really planning on streaming again this week, but I guess either after I streamed yesterday, Mr. Owens did an interview with News Nation, and I missed it, or maybe he did it earlier and I missed it. But Mr. Owens is back, and I want to listen from Mr. Owens because I want to know, did he really get along with Sarah Boone? Did he get along with Sarah Boone? And how much did he push the plea deal on her? Because I know he wanted her to take the plea deal before he was assigned as her actual attorney, right? He came in, wanted to assist her, tried to do the plea deal. She didn't want the plea deal. So he was like, okay, well, Sarah Boone, I'm done with your case. I'm not doing anything with her case. So he goes back, flies back to, or drives back to where he's from. And then I think Sarah Boone kept trying to contact him. And then one of Sarah Boone's friend contacted him. And he was like, fine, you know what? Fine, I'll take your case. I'll take your case. And I think he might have came back. And that's when they had the screaming match per the jail records. And, I guess the two of them, they worked something out. And he decided to take the case. And you know what? I will say this. I think he did a lot better, or the defense. I think the defense did a lot better than I originally thought. Do I still think her story, her defense, her bogus is like crazy and it doesn't make sense? Yeah, but I still think they did a lot better than I initially thought. I mean, it's really hard to work with Sarah Boone because one, it's Sarah Boone. And then two, story sucks, right? Story doesn't make sense. Lots of lies, lots of things you have to undo, especially from when the jury saw the interrogation videos, the body cams. There's a lot of things that you have to undo. And that's a really hard thing to do when you're trying to convince the jury, like, hey, look, here's my new story. I'm not lying anymore. I was before, but I'm not lying now. Because, before I was lying, I was actually really scared I was going to be arrested again. I have a thing with cops. I just get scared of cops. So I was lying back then, and I've been lying, ever since. But now I have a new story. So that's a hard thing to undo. And, they tried. Moondog, hello. How are you doing today? Condensed videos of yours are a gift we don't deserve. Oh, of course you guys do. You guys are here supporting me. Of course you guys deserve it. They are very nuts. I can't believe it's still so far away when they're going to tell us how long she gets. Oh, for sentencing? Yeah, for Murdoch. Oh, God, Murdoch was so satisfying because Murdoch got his verdict. And then I think the sentencing was, was it a couple days after that? I don't know. Maybe shoot, was that in South Carolina? Maybe in South Carolina, maybe in that little area. There's not a lot of crime happening or something. But yeah, I like it when sentencing happens like ASAP because, sometimes it's like, oh, sentencing is pushed out to like four months and you're just like, oh my gosh, that's so far away. I want to know now. You can tell I don't have a lot of patience. Not a lot of patience here. Hi, Gorgie-san in chat. Hi, Fire. How are you doing today? Northwest is my guess is 40 years. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think Sarah Boone's going to get? Do you think the judge is going to be like life in prison? You think the judge is going to be like, you know what? This woman has a chance for rehabilitation, 35 years, 40 years. I don't know, man. It's like you want people to rehabilitate. You want people to change. You don't want people to rot in jail forever. And you want them to come out and be, good people, right? You want them to contribute to society and stuff like that. But damn, fucking Sarah Boone, she lied the entire time, and my opinion, I didn't think she ever felt sorry for what she did to George. And that's just like, it's just one of those unfortunate things where if I was the family members of George, I wouldn't want her to be out. I'm like, this bitch never apologized. She never felt sad. She never cried. I don't even know if she even reached out to the family. Maybe it's sentencing. Maybe we'll see a different version of Sarah Boone. But like I said, Sarah Boone, she comes off as someone who's very manipulative. So it's hard to trust anything she says, unfortunately. But, I hope she will change. She better hope it doesn't depend on the word count of her letters. At 47 years, 40 is live. She's getting her second win, though, gearing up for the appeal. I mean, yeah, let's see. Because Mr. Owens is like, I'm not doing the appeal. I mean, Mr. Owens is not an appeal attorney, right? So we have like specialized attorneys to handle that. I wonder if everyone, in the public defender's office who handles appeals, if they're clenching their butt cheeks right now because they're like, oh my God, I hope I don't get signed to Sarah Boone. No parole in Florida. I did hear about that there's no parole in Florida. Owens had little to nothing with Sarah Boone's being the state had an ace in the hole. The state had the videos. Okay, game over. Yeah, luckily Sarah Boone was the type of person, she was the criminal that loved to document things, okay? She documented things. She took videos. She documented the weird parts of her relationship. I don't know, man. It's a good thing she liked documenting things. Go on then. Looking good. Keeping it real. It's Prime Day. We just had the government budget in Britain for us. Dental Wonder's been a wild month legally. Love ya. Ben, Thank you. Ben, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime for 3 months. So welcome back, welcome back. Enjoy your emails, and I hope you enjoy your little badge. You still got the little corgi badge. I don't think she'll show any emotion in sentencing either. I think she blames George that he died in the suitcase because he put her in jail. Yeah. You know, I don't think she has taken any responsibility. Oh, man. The school of Letitia. Letitia. Is Letitia still complaining about the food? Does she still want her kosher meals? I could see Sarah being like that. She excels at self-snitching. Yeah, we love criminals that self-snitch. We love it. It's great. We love it when they Google search their crimes, when they take videos, they don't delete them. You know, when they go back and revisit the murder site. I don't know. We like criminals like that. You know, just make it easier. Make it easier for us to catch you. Please. Please. Make it easier for us to go after you beyond a reasonable doubt. Sarah never reached out to the family of George. He thinks Sarah is nuts. Letitia. Oh, Letitia. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Yeah, Letitia. Miss Edward Cullen, vampires over here. Kosher meal, constipated inmate. She's definitely a one of a kind. You know, what did Sarah say to George again? You'll never find anyone like me. I'm one of a kind. It's like, yeah, you were completely right about that. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. One of the few things that I agree with Sarah. It's Florida should do 20 years. That lady's insane for not taking the deal. Well, I mean, if you truly believe that you are going to be acquitted, it's like, well, why the fuck would I spend another 10 years serving for this time? I've already served 4.5 years. I didn't deserve to be here. You know, so if she really thought that she was going to be acquitted, then I guess it makes sense. But, you know, apparently Mr. Owens was like, take the deal. And she was like, yeah, I think, I don't know. I think maybe she thought she was going to be really persuasive when she was testifying on the stand. I think maybe all the evidence that she had with her injuries and stuff like that, maybe she was like, hey, this is going to shock the jury. The jury's going to be sympathetic. They're going to believe me. And they're going to be like, fuck George, right? But I think what she failed to understand was that, yes, this could have happened to you. But in this incident with George, it was because of the circumstances, the suitcase, you know? It wasn't like she had a bunch of injuries from that night, right? George was coming after her. She had like knife stab wounds, or like he was coming after her and like she was like, you know, shooting. She was like trying to like defend herself with a gun or something like that. Like, I don't know, like because of the circumstance, it was like the fucking suitcase. And there's a video of it. It's like, ma'am, you have a video recording of you leaving him in the suitcase. It's just bad. It's just a horrible look. Michelle, I Googled luxury prisons. Okay, Miss Corey Richins, luxury prisons for women. Corey Richins, that's also, you guys have not heard of the Corey Richins case? Please go watch the old videos of Corey Richins. That is a pending case right now. That is also another crazy. That is also another crazy person. We are waiting for her trial to happen. Her pre-trial happened a couple months back, but if you guys do not know who Corey Richins is, go to my playlist and watch Corey Richins. That's also another one that I look forward to covering. Corey Richins. What else is there? Donna Adelson. She tortured poor George. You know what? I saw a thumbnail about that. I don't know anything about the cancer thing. So Kylie says, I read SB, Sarah Boone has cancer. Is that true? I have no idea. I saw that in a YouTube thumbnail and I haven't clicked on it. I didn't read it or anything like that. What's going on with our favorite felon? Oh God, who's the favorite felon? Dan says, Kylie, I heard that too. Kylie, we know from jail IMS reports she did have surgery. Yeah, I didn't see that. I have not seen that. Lady murders boyfriend in a tragic game of hide and go seek gone wrong. It wasn't even a hide and go seek game gone wrong. The hide and go seek thing just did not make sense. I don't know. I wonder if hide and go seek was a euphemism for something else, because remember in the text message when she was texting George's family, it was like, your father hit me. Hide and seek I shall. It's like, what does that mean? I don't know. She wrote the cancer letter in 2022, cancer and family court letters. Oh, I haven't seen anything about that. She claimed that during the family court letters. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of those. I have not seen any of those. I've only focused on the murder case. So I haven't seen all the battles between her and Brian Boone. all the family court stuff and all the alimony stuff. But I did hear that I mean, it was mentioned in her murder trial, or was it in the pretrial stuff? I think she still wanted alimony, child support, and they were going to use the fact that Brian Boone didn't pay that as a way to impeach Brian Boone if he was to testify on the stand about certain things. But yeah, very interesting. They didn't do the cross-examination of Brian Boone, and they didn't recall Brian Boone on the stand. The defense didn't do that. So yeah, it seems like they did some pivoting here and there. She said she had cancer to get more alimony. Boone is a cancer. No, don't worry about that, Kylie. Don't worry. You know, because like sometimes I don't know something, and someone that times in the chat, you know, people will know and they can answer your questions. Narcissists always see their words as convincing. People don't argue with them because it goes nowhere. Yeah, it's tiring. It's energy consuming. It's like, what's the point, right? That's why I was saying that with Sarah Boone. I think she hopped around between people. So it's like whoever at the moment believes her and is willing to deal with her. But at some point when she pushes boundaries and people are fed up with her, sometimes you don't really have time. You don't want to put in the energy to correct someone's actions and hope that they'll be better, right? You're just like, oh, fuck it. Like, bye. I'm just gonna dump you as a friend, and yeah, bye. See you later. Because that's a lot of time and energy that I wouldn't want to waste on someone if they weren't like family or something, you know, or someone that I really cared about. So, I mean, I could see Sarah Boone being the type of person who like hopped around to different like groups of people and got sympathy for them. And at some point when they were fed up with her, you know, they probably just cut her off and she just jumped on someone else. Lies about the cancer are so low. I don't know anything about that. She used family court to control Brian and her son. He didn't have to pay because she was in jail. I don't understand what they're trying to... I don't know. I'm like, if she's incarcerated and she's not one of the caretakers of her son, why does she need... What's it for? Maybe it's like, to put money in her commissary. Maybe I can understand that, I guess. Like she needs money in her commissary. Maybe that's what it is. That was pre-trial. I think they didn't call him because I read the letters. They are nasty. Were they letters from Sarah Boone and it was to the judge about Brian Boone? Man, Brian Boone, I hope he's out there living his best life, okay? I hope he's out there living his best life. I know it's still pending, the I think the alimony stuff, but when it's all over, I hope he can just chill, you know, continue raising their son, and then I hope he enjoys himself because, you know, I don't know, man, the Sarah Boone thing, because when did they meet again? They met when like he was like in his early 20s or something like that. Like, that's a long time to be committed to Sarah Boone, like 20 plus years. The Sarah Boone letters remind me of my mother, ... Oh no. Back when I used to drink, my girlfriend was an alcoholic too, and Sarah Boone reminds me so much of her. She's such a clown. Why would she continue to get child support? She doesn't have, her child with her. I don't know exactly what it was that she was fighting for, but from what I've heard in the pretrial stuff, I think Mr. Owens was talking about the alimony, and I think he said child support, but like I said, it doesn't make sense why you would get child support. I don't know. She said she has a cure for cancer while I was putting the patient in the suitcase. All right. Hey, Pop-Tarts don't pay for themselves. That's true. How does alimony keep... I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what the battle for the alimony thing is. No idea. Sarah disparaged Brian a whole ton in the letters. Think they were afraid Brian would bring up the letters and calls between them, which wouldn't look good for her. Yeah, because I think that might have risked opening the gate to the dynamics of Sarah and Brian Boone's relationship. And I don't know, maybe their past history stuff. Possibly, maybe... Just a Lazy Gamer uploaded a video of him reading out the letters she wrote about the alimony case. Anyone notice she has a resting murder face? Does she? I don't know if it's resting murder face. It's just kind of like emotionless. Like, I don't know. Just lack of emotion, I would say. Lack of emotion. Remember when I did the poll, I was like, hey, so, do you guys think when Sarah Boone testifies, you guys think she's going to be kind of like, is she going to play the sympathetic victim? Is she going to be kind of like defensive, or is she going to be emotionless? I really thought she was going for emotionless. That's what I thought. All right, y'all. So let's listen to Mr. James Owens, the attorney that represented her. And again, he's not going to be doing the appeal stuff at all. A different attorney will be working on that. And I don't know. I don't know if Sarah Boone's going to want to appeal. I mean, why not, right? I mean, appeal and then see what happens. You thought we'd see fake crying. Well, the fake crying, I wasn't sure because we barely we saw like a tiny bit of fake crying during the interrogation, but we didn't really see it. And there was none happening in the body cam, in the video interrogation, and then in the audio interrogation, no. And I think in the video interrogation, she tried to say that like, oh, now I have to live without George. I have to live without him. And I think there was like a little bit of like, force emotion there. But yeah, I don't know. We didn't really see like the crying thing. Is the chat overlay up? I don't know. You guys are not up here. Why are you guys not on here? Why did I hide you guys? All right, y'all are up now. So let's start with News Nation. News Nation, Mr. Owens, the title, Suitcase Murder Trial. Sarah Boone's lawyer strongly urged the plea deal. All right, Mr. Owens, let's see what he's gonna say.
Owens, it's great to have you back on the show.
Oops, hold on, I don't have my headphones on. Headphones. Hi, Nicole. How are you doing today? How's it going? I can't believe I watched the whole trial with y'all, but I missed the main event when she was found guilty. I know, it happened so quickly. It happened so quickly. I mean, a lot of you guys thought that the verdict was going to come out on Monday. I was like, I don't know. I'm going to just say Friday because I think it's going to be a quick decision for the jury. I wonder if the jury had their dinners and was like, okay, we're ready to vote. Let's go. Yep, you guys are up now. All right, y'all. Mr. Owens.
Well, thanks so much for being with me. What was your client's reaction when she heard the verdict, guilty, read in court?
Shocked. She was just in shock. Like, she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was this past Friday evening, and I would say shock. We were not, she nor I were anticipating guilty as charged.
Wait, she was anticipating or wasn't anticipating?
We were not, she nor I were anticipating guilty as charged.
Can you guys hear the audio okay, by the way? I think it should be okay. But it's weird though, because I thought if the jury comes with a verdict a lot sooner, I thought defense attorneys are usually kind of worried. It's like, oh shit, they decided really quickly and it must mean maybe like guilty verdict. For me, if I was Mr. Owens, I'd be like, oh man, they only deliberated for an hour plus. Sarah, that doesn't sound good. Sarah, you better prepare yourself, okay? That doesn't sound good. That's not a good thing. One thing I've noticed about Owens is that he won't look at the interview or camera when he speaks. He basically has his stuff to say until sentencing, but he doesn't believe it. Owens won't look at the interview or the camera when he speaks. He basically has to say this stuff until sentencing, but he doesn't believe it. I think sometimes when people speak, sometimes when they're like in thought and they're trying to craft what they're saying, they kind of just like stare off into the distance, or they're not looking at the interviewer, or maybe they're like looking down or something. I feel like that's something that people do when they speak. So are you saying that like because he does that, it looks like he doesn't believe what he's saying? Audio's good? You guys can hear it? Okay. All right. Audio's good. Y'all can hear it.
Not, she nor I were anticipating guilty as charged. We considered that the jury might convict her of a lesser charge or...
Ah, that's what it is. Okay. The lesser charge. So maybe the manslaughter, or maybe the... What was it again? The negligent something, or the something negligent.
The first lesser was manslaughter, and the second lesser was culpable negligence.
Culpable negligence. Okay.
So yeah, she was in shock that they found her guilty as charged, which was the second-degree murder.
I'm sorry, but did she not read the jury instructions? Did she not read the jury instructions?
I'm struggling to figure that one out because I had made a bet that the jury would come back under 2 hours, and they did. Mm-hmm. I found her wholly dislikable all through the entire process from the moment she was arrested to the moment she was convicted.
Damn.
I can't imagine I'm alone. Everyone I've spoken to who's been following the case, albeit not in the courtroom, has said the same thing. They'll throw the book at her. Why did your client and why did you feel that wasn't going to happen?
The hard questions. I will say this, though. When she testified on the stand, I think she did a lot better because I expected the Sarah Boone letters. Okay, I expected the crazy Sarah Boone in the interviews, interrogation, the body cams. I expected crazy Sarah Boone to come out, but it's been 4.5 years. She's had time to mellow out. She's had time to try to craft her identity in front of the jurors when she's testifying about this, right? Which is someone who's just like, okay, well, I'm not going to be an asshole. Got to make sure I'm not going to be like that, be a little bit snappy. I got to make sure that I'm like, patient and I'm soft-spoken. And I'm like, I think she did a lot better because a lot of people expected the full-blown Sarah Boone asshole or the full-blown asshole Sarah Boone to come out. So I think she did a lot better on the stand. Yeah, I think she did a lot better on the stand. But here's what I think. Cross-examination was short, in my opinion. Had she been up there cross-examined for, let's say, like 2 to 3 hours, I think you would start seeing the real Sarah Boone. Because, if you're only up there for, let's say, like 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, it's like, okay, you got a short amount of time to kind of like keep yourself cool, calm, collected. But at some point, if you're up there long enough and someone keeps pushing your buttons, your true self usually comes out. So I think if she was cross-examined longer, Mr. J probably would be able to bring that out of her. But, Mr. J, he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing.
Well, she actually did pretty good on the stand if you watch her testimony.
Better than what we expected is different than doing pretty good on the stand.
As far as Sarah goes, she actually did pretty good, I felt like. But, ultimately, as you mentioned earlier, the decision as to whether or not to accept a plea offer or to take the case to trial is ultimately only the client's decision. We can tell, lawyer can tell her the pros and cons and the strengths and weaknesses of her position versus the state's position.
Sure. Did you recommend to her to take the deal and she went against your recommendation? Because knowing how she's been with the last, 8 trial attorneys who, she spent before you, I would imagine that would be a scenario, I believe.
Well, we talked about it in depth, and I try not to give my opinion initially. I want them to try to make the decision on their own, and then if they ask me for my opinion, then I give it to them based on
Did
my.
She?
Yes.
What'd you say?
Well, that was something that I suggested she strongly consider, was that plea. I think with 15 years, you do 80% of that.
Mm-hmm.
Sentence here in Florida, plus she'd done already 4.5 years. So she would have had, I think, about 8 years to do. So
yeah. And then 8 years, because right now her son is 14 years old. He would have been like 20 by then. Still a lot of time to be with your son, be there for him during his, if he goes to college or mid-20s, if he starts a family and stuff like that. Still a lot of time to be with your son. I know that she would have been out when she was like in her mid-50s or something. Maybe that to her, that sounds really old, but still a lot of time to spend with your son, assuming that she doesn't die early of like, bad health or anything like that. But I still think that's still really, really fucking decent. But you know what? She thought she was going to get out right now. She was like, you know what? I'm going to be there for my son, for his 15th birthday or something. I think he just turned 14 recently. I think they said, right? So I don't know. Maybe she thought she was going to spend Christmas with him this year. And she was like, oh, I'm going to be out soon. So why would I spend another 8 years? Should look like being nicer was torture for her. Hi, Squeezy Bean Art. Crazy defendant would have come out if Owens hadn't been up there leading. Oh yes, Owens was leading her so much, but that was during direct examination. Yeah, Owens was leading her so much, and I was so surprised that Mr. J. I was like, hello, can we object to this? What is going on here? Who's testifying? Is it Owens testifying or is it Sarah Boone testifying? Because it seems like Sarah Boone had a hard time memorizing timelines or whatever, and that's why Owens was in there testifying for her. So I'm like,
so yeah, that was.
So she went against your advice. I sit here with a smile only because it's like I've heard this story so many times before, and I think you knew as well coming in as number 9 that she wouldn't take your advice. Have you had a chance to talk with her since the conviction, and is she rethinking her decision to ignore everybody who's smarter at this game than she is?
No, we haven't talked about that. She's got a sentencing coming up December the 2nd, Monday, December the 2nd at 1:30. So we're going to deal with preparing her for that. She's going to speak at that. And then there's a.
Okay, answer the question. Sarah will be speaking at the pre-sentencing investigation, Sarah will be speaking at her sentencing.
Pre-sentence investigation that the judge ordered. So we'll work on that. And the judge
What
has
do you
got
think she's going to get? What do you think the judge will
a
sentence her to?
Well, you know, there's a range, and I think the state attorney had said the low end was 22 years, and of course, life is the top of the range, and the judge is going to have to make a decision. You know, as you know, there was testimony that she suffered from the battered spouse syndrome by our expert, and also the state attorney's expert testified. Both of them agreed that she suffered. So there is some mitigating factors, although the jury did not find that she was justified in the use of force that she used as a result.
Oh, you know what? Let's say, and I don't know shit, but this is just me just like kind of like thinking here. Let's say that she thought that she was going to get out right now, acquitted right now. Let's say Brian Boone owed her alimony. Let's say that money, that alimony kept accumulating for her. So like say Brian Boone has to pay her alimony every month and he puts it in a separate like checking deposit for Sarah Boone. That way, when she comes out, she would have 4.5 years worth of alimony, or I don't know if the child support thing really is a thing. Cause you know, obviously you're not taking care of the child and you're in jail, but maybe that was her thought. Maybe it was like, okay, I'm going to really fight for this fucking alimony because I'm going to get out at the end of this trial. And then when I come out, I'm going to have all this alimony money that's been waiting for me while I was incarcerated. Alimony required through next year, then it stopped to someone said 2025, right? So maybe that's why she was fighting so hard for it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if like you get alimony if you're incarcerated. Like that's kind of a weird thing to me. It's like, why should you get alimony? You have free housing, you have free food, you know? Like I said, maybe commissary shit, but I don't know. I don't know how the court's supposed to work with that. So maybe that's what she wanted. She was like, yeah, I wanted to come out and just have some, like, you know, a couple thousands of dollars. Oh. All right. So Dark Vader. Sarah's a nutcase, but why is everyone ignoring the fact that George was a nut job and an abuser as well? No one has ignored that. I think a lot of people went after George for, you know, the injuries that Sarah Boone had, like the stabbings and stuff, the black eye, you know, although some people are skeptical about whether or not it was George actually inflicted on it. But we've talked about George. We haven't said that like, oh, Sarah Boone was not the victim. A lot of people think that, you know, there was mutual abuse happening in the relationship. But I think with Sarah Boone, you know, George probably inflicted more damage on her. But it's hard to completely believe her as well, though, because Sarah Boone has a track record of lying. A lot of stuff that we would have to... A lot of stuff between her and George, we would have to just take Sarah's word for it. Or, you know, you look at the evidence, right? The recordings and stuff like that. But we still don't know the context. So, yes, Sarah Boone is being highly focused on this because it's her murder case, right? She's the one who killed George. But people still are like, yeah, George was the one who abused Sarah Boone. There are people who think that as well. So just because, you know, we're talking about Sarah Boone, it doesn't mean that, oh, we don't, you know, that like, oh, George is like automatically not the abuser. You think Sarah hit TV first before she records? I bet Brian doesn't owe any alimony anymore. Yeah, I'm very curious. If you guys find out what the outcome for the alimony stuff, let me know. I know it's a pending thing right now. Hi, Rain. How are you doing today? How's it going?
Result of the battered spouse syndrome, I think the judge can consider the fact that ultimately, you know, it was a dysfunctional, toxic relationship in which both of them probably abused each other.
Thanks for watching.
What happened? Wait, what is this? What happened? He said they probably both abuse each other. It's possible that they both thrive in this very toxic relationship, although one was definitely way more aggressive and maybe in control than the other, in my opinion. Okay, I don't know what happened to Mr. Owens, man. They just cut him off like that. What happened? They said, bye, Mr. Owens. We're not going to let you finish. She was just getting to the interesting part. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what happened. They said bye. They said peace out. They cut the interview when he started stating his opinion as fact. I still want to listen, though, because she can still push back. Okay, I don't know what happened. Maybe there's a longer segment out there and I don't have access to it. Maybe. All right, well, let's head on over to Court TV. All right, Court TV. Is this the day of the... Yes, I think this is the day of the verdict. Looks like it. It's nighttime. I didn't get to watch the court TV version of it yet. I only watched the one where he did the interview with Florida, Fox 35 Orlando, whatever the fuck it's called. So, did I see the interview with the daughters gave where they implied that George's murder was premeditated rather than was shown in court? Oh, we actually, Venko, we did watch that together, I believe. Is that the one where they talked to Julie from Law in Court TV? Because I did see that one. I just haven't posted the video yet, but we did the live stream together. I just haven't posted video yet. I guess I should work on that today. Today. They do that? It's like a YouTube short? Oh, where do I go to listen to the whole segment, Leanna? Where's the rest of it? I want to listen to the whole thing. Why did they cut it off like that? It's like, because usually when I watch the interviews on News Nation, they have the entire segment or the entire interview, and then they'll end it. I don't know. The ones that I've seen, I guess. But I guess it's a good way for you to be like, oh my God, I want more. Let me go find the long version of this. Let me find the long version. You think they spoke to Anna? I don't know. I believe her name is Anna. You bet he'll end up on The View? I want him to end up... Who did Elaine talk to? Elaine talked to Savannah Guthrie. And then went on The View, right? I think. Reactive abuse? Yeah, then there are people that believe in that as well. I don't think Sarah thought there were anything wrong with the videos of her berating George. Exactly. Because usually when you're filming someone, you would think that, okay, well, I'm going to film and this is going to be the person at their worst. But in those videos, it just made Sarah look really bad. And it's crazy to me that she didn't delete those videos. She kept them. I don't know if she kept them as a reminder of, oh, look at me humiliating George. Or maybe she used them and showed them to George or other people. Be like, hey, this is George. I humiliated him. It's so weird that she kept those videos. I don't know why she kept those videos. I don't even know why. Because let's say she captured videos of George coming at her, right? Hitting her and stuff like that. Okay, you would capture those videos for one, for evidence. And then for two, to be like, hey, here's a reminder of what you did to me in the past. Don't do this again or something like that, right? The fact that she kept the videos of like George just kind of just being berated, I don't know, is so weird to me. Super weird. I don't know, man. I don't know. Sarah's a 4 narcissist, that's why. LOL. Who has proof George was abusive? I've never seen any. So basically, it would be the pictures of Sarah Boone with all those injuries. But like I said, we're only getting Sarah Boone's version of it. But I don't know, man. When you have a black guy, when you got like a stab injury, it's like, ooh, this looks pretty fucking bad. But again, we don't get to know George's perspective of it. We don't get to see any of the, we didn't get to see like any of the medical records or anything like that. You know how like usually if you were dead and you were stabbed, they could be like, oh, well, let's look at the angle when it was stabbed. Like, does it look like it was like a self-stab thing or does it look like someone actually stabbed you, right? So the only thing that we have for Sarah Boone is just her story and the injuries. And yeah, they look really fucking bad. They look really bad. But like I said, we don't know what happened. And it's hard to take Sarah's word for it because she's lied a lot. The text from George's employer seeing the black eye on George. Yep. I mean, even the siblings, even George's siblings was like, yeah, they both had bruisings. It wasn't just like the family members of George were like, oh yeah, it was only, you know, George that had bruises. Like they were like, yeah, they both had bruises on each other. You know, seems like, you know, things were going down between the two of them. All right. That was George at his worst. I wonder how much for injuries are from George trying to get her off him. Was likely a broken wine glass based on a neighbor. The broken wine glass for which one? The only evidence and images that aren't corroborated by any medical treatments, videos, police reports, despite Sarah weaponizing this nonstop against George when convenient. Sarah, the type to hit herself and say, why did you do this to me? Yeah, and I wouldn't, you know, I could see why people would believe that because Sarah seems really, really crazy. Oh, the leg wound, wine glass. You think a lot of her injuries are from falling down? I don't know. I'm not an injury expert. I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. Keep in mind that his client offered payment in publicity. Sarah Boone. All right, y'all. So let's listen to Mr. James Owens. And then also, guess who's on this segment? We got Mr. Ben Chu. So I kind of want to listen to the end of the segment. I want to see what Mr. Ben Chu says. You know, we haven't heard from Ben Chu in a while. It's been a while, Mr. Ben Chu. Look forward to hearing from you. Wayne. Hello, Wayne. How are you doing today? Hello, all. How's it going? All right, Mr. Owens, let's see what he says.
I think we've got sentencing set for, I believe, the next does have potential.
Oh, my bad. Hold on a second. Hold up. Oh, is anyone watching or is anyone following the Delphi murder trial? Hey! Oh my goodness, we got a new member, Britt Flip. Welcome. We have a new member, guys. Please welcome Britt Flip. Enjoy your baby corgi badge. It's gonna be right next to your name when you're chatting in here. And then during emotes. Thank you so much. We got a new member. Hello. I hope you're doing well. I accidentally left a hand-shaped bruise on my upper arm. I had a bad itch. A wild Ben Shu appears. I know we haven't heard from Ben Shu in a while. Christine says, welcome. Yeah, welcome, Brit Flip. Welcome in. I don't know what's going to hurt her is... Oh, what's going to hurt her is her lack of remorse. Yeah, during sentencing. And I think Judge Kranick, you can't fool him. I don't think she's going to be able to fool Judge Kranick. You know, she can go up there, change her story, be like, you know what? Okay, fine. Like, I'm actually really sorry for what I done. And, you know, I sat through the trial, made me realize that I'm, you know, yeah, I fucked up. Yeah, I don't know. I think Judge Kranick is going to... She can try to manipulate, but I think he's going to look right through it. So that's why very interesting to see what she's going to say. Yes, Master Commander. All I know is from the information from lawyer, interviewing Andrea Burkhart. Yes, I watched that yesterday. Oh, my goodness. What is up with that judge? That sounds so frustrating. Andrea Burkhart was talking about how first couple days of trial, the people that were there, like lining up, they weren't even able to have lunch because of like how stringent the rules were in the courtroom. I was like, what the fuck? That's crazy. You're sitting there for, 8+ hours and can't even get lunch because you have to line up and you're not allowed to bring food into the courthouse. I don't know. I thought it was really, really wild. I wish I was a trial that I could see live, but it's a little too far. And me sitting there for a long time, I don't know. That's not good for my body. The first week of the Sarah Boone trial, my body was already deteriorating. My back was hurting so much. It's hard to sit for that long for trial cases. Lady, hi lady, how are you doing today? How's it going? Hello. From what I've seen or read about the Delphi trial, it seems like a shit show. I mean, honestly, I remember when the accused, Richard Allen, surfaced, and I think a little bit after that, it just seems like, I don't know, a shit show. Because I remember hearing about he confessed, and I was like, oh, okay, so it was him that did it. And then it was like, oh, wait a second. People don't think that he did it. And I was really confused. And then I was like, okay, I'll just watch the fucking trial. And then I didn't realize that the trial was, because I didn't really keep tabs on it. I didn't realize the trial was not televised. So, I don't know. That's weird. No, I have not seen the letter. You guys are welcome. If you guys have the actual copy of the letter, the PDF or something, post it in the Discord. Yeah, I can read it. She sent it to the family court handling her alimony. I saw someone talking about it in chat for the burn pile murder the what? The burn pile murder this morning. Oh, is that a different case? Different trial? You're actually about, 20 minutes away from Delphi? Go watch a trial in your local courthouse. I don't know, man. I don't know. The benches, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like sitting there would just be very uncomfortable because I have lower back issues and stuff like that. I don't know. And then, yeah, I don't know. Watching trial stuff would be hard. Because if I'm in my room, I can get up whenever I want. I can stretch and all that stuff. But if you're sitting there in the courtroom, I don't know. It's hard. And if the benches might not be comfortable, I don't know. I have too many issues. Today was weird. I had to get a Prozac for your cat, and mother-in-law accidentally left her smut audiobook in the car. Oh, left it on. What was she listening to? Oh. He confessed to a lot of stuff that didn't match up. Yeah. And you know what sucks is apparently if you're... Wait, did I miss... Jules Waddy. Thank you so much for the little unicorn super chat. Jules, thank you so much. I love your name, by the way. For the 149. Thank you. I appreciate the little unicorn. You would be so bored. Yeah, man, my friends and I used to kayak and shit down the river where... Oh, the bodies were found. Holy crap. The thing is, he did do it. He confessed to the jail phone call to his wife, but people want him to have a rightful trial, so he doesn't have grounds for a retrial. The girls deserve to rest in peace. Miriam! Oh, yeah. Hit the like button if you guys are enjoying this. Thank you. Thank you, Miriam. I appreciate the reminder. I don't know. It was about vampires. Vampire smut mother-in-law? Okay, that sounds interesting. I might have to hit her up for the recommendation. But yeah, I wish I could cover the Delphi stuff, but a lot of it is sealed. And again, the trial is, it's not live stream. So I would be very interested to hear more. Yeah, if they do more podcast stuff. Because I think Laura, said he was going to do a follow-up with Andrea Barkart. So that'd be really interesting to listen to. Oh, we have two Nicoles in the chat. Oh, from the Amsterdam. I was going to go to Amsterdam one year, but then, I think the pandemic happened. We had to cancel our trip. That would have been fun. The Ferris murder is in charge stage. The jury should be around 3 that the jury goes into, deliberation. What is that case about? Yeah, the judge is the worst judge ever. Shamelessly biased. I heard a lot about the judge. Yeah, I heard a lot about the judge. As much as people don't like Judge Cannoni, at least Judge Cannoni had it live stream. Because I think when there's like weird shit, that people think are happening, I think it's good to make it transparent, fucking live stream it, right? I think it's weird when it's like, okay, well, no cameras, no anything. It's like, oh, that kind of sucks. But maybe the judge made that discretion because the murder is about 2 young girls. Maybe that's why. But I feel like, I don't know, it's good to have transparency. Andrea does the daily updates. I checked on her website to see if she does like blog updates or something like that. But I think I saw a lot of the Det V Heard stuff. And then I think I went to go check her videos. I saw that she didn't post anything recently, but I think she does the updates on her live streams, right? I saw they were like 4 to 5 hours long, and I was like, ooh, that's a long time. Cannoni, Judge Cannoni for the Karen Reed trial. Because a lot of people do not like Judge Cannoni. But you know what? I'm like glad that at least she had the trial to be live stream and have it transparent. Is Brian Boone remarried? I have no idea. I don't know about that. Okay, sorry guys. I can chat with y'all all day. Y'all are very interesting. Very intriguing. Ferris is accused of shooting her husband and putting him on the burn pile. Oh. I went to Amsterdam. I don't remember much except all the shit and the drugs. Salsa, hello from... Is that Florida? Is that FL or FI? Is that Florida? I hope all is well. Hi, Salsa. How are you doing today? How's it going? Yes, Andrea does it on her live feed nightly. Gotcha. Yeah, I think I checked it out yesterday and I was like, oh, it's like 4 to 5 hours long. Even if I listen to it like 2 times speed, I don't know, it's a lot of hours. But yeah, I definitely do want to check it out because the Delphi stuff is very, very interesting. Can Sarah transfer to another state? I hope not. I have no idea. I mean, Charlie Adelson, didn't he transfer to another state? Charlie Adelson was in fear for his life or something like that people were going to come after her or something. I don't know. Didn't he get transferred to another state? Oh no, not the cockroach emotes. That might scare people off the chat. Thanks, Miriam. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, Dawn. I've just been watching a few Delphi updates. There's so much wrong with this trial. It ain't a fair one from the investigation to the judge. Too infuriating, whether guilty or not, it needs to be fair. I agree with that. From what I've seen and heard from so far, it seems like everyone's echoing the same thing that you are, that the investigation was like crazy, that the judge is very biased. I don't know. We hate to hear about that. We hate to hear about that. We lost our hallway in Amsterdam. I keep getting people asking if I'm okay. Once I itched my neck and walked to Walmart late at night hours. I didn't realize I broke skin and blood was soaking your jet. Wait, were you in Amsterdam? Where were you, Steffi Roth? Oh gosh, that sounds crazy. I like live stream trials. Forces people to go by the books or exposes them when they don't. Yeah, I like the live stream trial because I like the transparency. And there are things that like, here's what I like now, because like I said, man, when I used to watch trials back in the day, they fucking showed everything. Okay, they'd be showing the autopsy photos and all that. I'm just like, wow. I would hate to be a victim if my trial was live stream. I wouldn't want my dead bodies, all over the internet and stuff like that. But yeah, I think now that a lot more people are watching, and I guess there's like the sponsorships and all that, I think that's probably a good reason why they don't show the autopsy photos, and probably because there's more people watching it. So it's probably like, ooh, maybe we should not be showing autopsy photos on the live streams anymore. But before the Det V Heard case, I was streaming this trial about, it was like a fight at a bar. It was like just a stupid thing. It's just like some guy hits on a girl, she rejects him, and then like later on he comes up to her, and then her friend group goes against his friend group, and they like fight happens, and like the guy ends up like stabbing like 1 or 2 people or something like that, and then he like flees the scene. And so I was watching that while I was like live streaming Elden Ring, and I was like, I had to be very careful because they were showing the autopsy photos, and I was like, okay guys, I'm gonna have to blur this part out. Can't be showing this on here. So I think now that there are more people that are watching trials, they're like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be showing autopsy photos anymore. Due to live streaming, that hinge people will get to sip to the good-looking killers like Chris Watts, Wade Wilson. I don't know, man. I guess I couldn't even see what Wade Wilson looked like with all those tattoos on there. I couldn't even see. Jody. What about Murdoch? You don't think Murdoch is a hottie? Come on now, Murdoch with the shirt off? Rain, come on. You gotta give Murdoch some credit for that. All right, guys. So, Mr. James Owens, this is his little mini interview, I guess, or he talks to the news reporters outside of the courthouse, and this is, I think, the day of the verdict. So let's see if he says anything else. And then, like I said, Ben Chu's on the panel as well, so I do want to listen to what Ben Chu thinks, because, I haven't seen Ben Chu in a while, but he looks pretty snazzy, so I do want to listen to him.
Trial, big verdict on this Friday night here on Court TV. We're going to take you straight down to the courthouse in Orlando. Kelly Craft is there with Sarah Boone's attorney. Kelly.
Hey there, Vinny. Yeah, it didn't take very long for the jurors to return a verdict in this case. Sarah Boone guilty of second-degree murder. We are joined now by her defense counsel, who advocated for her vehemently throughout this trial. This is James Owens. James, what's your reaction to the verdict?
Oh, man, poor Mr. Owens. Mr. Owens looked like he kind of tired. It's okay, Mr. Owens. You fought hard. You did your best with Sarah Boone.
Just disappointed. Sarah's devastated. She's disappointed. We felt like we had a good defense with the facts that we had. Obviously, we had some hurdles to overcome for the state's evidence, and
Some hurdles. Y'all had big hurdles.
for whatever reason, the jury didn't see it our way. We respect the jury's decision. I'm sure that Sarah Boone is going to want to appeal. I believe that she does have potentially 2 or 3 good appellate issues. So the next thing in store is, I think we've got sentencing set for, I believe, Monday, December the 2nd at 1:30. And we intend to call Dr. Harper as a witness to speak about her other mental health issues that she struggles with.
Oh, and then also what I was surprised, I thought they were, I mean, if there is childhood trauma, I thought they were going to go into Sarah Boone's like childhood, because usually it's like, okay, well, my client is the way that she is today because, this is a childhood trauma. This is how she grew up. This is the family, she was in a horribly abusive, blah, blah, blah. But maybe that wasn't her, right? Maybe that didn't apply to her. But I thought they were really going to go into Sarah Boone's history. I feel like they kind of just glazed over that. I really thought they would go into her history more. Same thing with actually when Amber Heard testified in the stand, when she was talking about her family and stuff like that. I really thought they were going to really go deeply into her history with her dad, with her family, and all that. But I'm surprised they didn't, because I feel like it's a good way to kind of try to get the jury to humanize someone who's accused of murder.
And hopefully the court will consider that.
Mr. Owens, Sarah Boone was offered a plea deal in this case, manslaughter. She did not take it. What do you think now, having the verdict?
Well, ultimately, that's their decision. They've got a couple of fundamental decisions. One is whether to plead guilty to anything, and the other is whether to go to trial, and the other is, whether to testify, and then the other is whether to appeal. And so Sarah Boone maintained that she wanted a trial the entire time, and we did discuss, there were plea negotiations, and there were offers on the table for the lesser charge of manslaughter, but Sarah ultimately rejected those offers and wanted her day in court.
She felt, it seemed, throughout this entire trial, she seemed to be very upbeat. It seemed...
And I wonder if, because she was like, oh, the whole internet's watching, the whole World Wide Web, all eyes on me. I got fans out there. I wonder if she just wanted to go to trial also because she's egotistical. If she wanted to prove everyone wrong, everyone on the internet that had, negative opinions about her, who's spoken out about her. I wonder if she just like, you know what? I'm going to go up there and testify and shut those motherfuckers up. And she probably thought that she was going to do a really good job testifying on the stand. I wonder if that's one of the factors as well. Like, okay, well, I'm going to dump this. And they're going to be like, oh my God, poor Sarah Boone. Like, oh my gosh, like, how could we have said such mean things about Sarah Boone? We retract everything that we said. I don't know. Because I wonder if that's one of the things. Maybe.
Even though I was getting the sense she really felt she hadn't done anything criminally wrong.
Well, I think, I believe she's a battered spouse. And I believe she believes she's a battered spouse. Once she learned, and we gave her a bunch of material about the subject, once she learned, what she had gone through with George Torres, I think she believed she was a battered spouse. So we...
But does she think George was also a battered spouse? I don't know. I'm just curious. He's not going to answer that, but, I just wondered, what about George? What about George? What about him?
Believed in that scenario that she was justified in defending herself.
No, not in that scenario. If it was during the stabbing incident, yeah, maybe she feels like she's justified to defend herself because she just got stabbed and maybe she thought that he was going to go after her, right? Per her story. Maybe when she had the black eye, when she had to defend herself, maybe. Again, per her story, because we don't know what really went down. But the fact that she didn't have any injuries on her that day, suitcase, I'm a broken record. She was not justified anyway. I don't even know how could you even like mentally warp your mind into even thinking that you're even justified?
And so she felt good because she had a defense and she had lawyers. Initially she was going to represent herself, and then she did that for a while. And I think she appreciated the fact that we came in, myself, Tony Henderson, and Kevin Beck, and then our team. We had 5 or 6 people working on the case for the last 45 days trying to get ready for trial. And I think she appreciated our efforts. She knew we were working hard. I've been here in Orlando for 3 weeks. And then
also he mentioned that Sarah Boone thought she was a battered spouse when they showed her materials about battered spouse. So she looked at those materials and she's like, oh, actually, I am a battered spouse. I don't know, man. I feel like that was what she was already gunning for before before Mr. Owens and his defense team even got there. Because in my mind, I'm thinking she was probably pitching battered spouse with the other attorneys. And all the other attorneys were like, yeah, Sarah, I mean, you could qualify for battered spouse. However, in your scenario, it just wouldn't really justify the killing of George because of the circumstances. And I think that's why there's a lot of back and forth and there's a lot of fighting probably with her and the attorneys. Like I said, I'm making a lot of assumptions. Mr. Owens is making it seem like, oh, she didn't know anything about battered spouse. It wasn't until we showed her these books that she was like, oh yeah, I'm a battered spouse. I don't know, man. I think she already knew about the battered spouse thing and she was already gunning for that. But her previous attorneys were probably like, yeah, Sarah, this is just going to be a yikes defense, man. Like, I don't know, Sarah. I think you should maybe take the plea deal. Maybe take the plea deal. It's hard to fit in battered spouse into what you did to George.
The rest of the team's been here for 2 weeks, so we've been doing everything we could do to represent her to the best of our ability, and that's what we did with the time that we had.
You really put up a good fight. Were you surprised that the jurors came back as quickly as they did?
I was.
Are you sure?
I think
you sure
that,
about that?
The rebuttal evidence where they played a bunch of videotapes of off Sarah's phone where there were some interactions with Sarah and George, I think that affected the jury.
Yeah, I think it was very effective. Mm-hmm.
What do you think another big challenge was for you in this case?
Well, of course, the suitcase video is difficult to deal with. And then, her interrogation, the 2-hour interrogation at the sheriff's department. So, I mean, we have evidence. That's probably the best evidence in a case is videotape.
Yep, when you have video evidence. I feel like if I was a member of the jury, I would love video evidence, okay? Video speaks a million words. Karangal, thank you so much for the 25. The lawyers were circling, speeding up. The lawyers were circling Sarah while she stumbled into the legislative process. The weakness they were watching made the case very tempting. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I see what you're saying. Thank you so much for the 25. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Closing argument sucked as well. Yeah, I think in closing argument, I just feel like Mr. Owens was just like all over the place, unfortunately. it just wasn't very, I think his opening was pretty decent. I think he did a pretty decent job with opening. Closing was just, yeah, to me, it was just like all over the place, like kind of like sorting, like sifting through the papers. I think it was just like really unorganized. It probably would have helped if he split the closing arguments between him and someone else, maybe. That could have helped his workload by a lot. I have spoken. Thank you so much again. I appreciate it. The interviewers for Owens were a little annoying. Yeah, I know they want answers, but let them talk. LOL. Rain, tell me more about Owens. Hi. He is a real sexist, calling the women where the one is a lawyer and the paralegal are girls. And there are more things. I think Owens is, I don't know. When I hear stuff like that, I'm just like, he's just an old guy. He's just an old guy. You know, he hasn't kept up with the times. He's just an old guy. Because he kept saying, "Oh, the girls," and it's just like they're women, but you know, I think he's just an old guy.
Tape oftentimes is the best evidence, and you know, we had some big hurdles to overcome.
It'd probably be annoying to work for him, though.
And obviously, the jury, and I respect the jury's decision, saw it.
Thank you. See, they respect the jury's decision. I hate it when the defense attorneys, after getting a guilty verdict, they go out there gung ho like, "Oh, the jury," you know, like, man, they didn't know what they were doing. You know, they didn't understand what their assignment was. You know, like just talking trash about the jury. I respect his response about the jury.
Big hurdles to overcome, and obviously the jury, and I respect the jury's decision, saw it a different way than we presented.
During your closing arguments, one of the things that you talked about was we're in 2024, and the perception that the state may be trying to give that she in a way deserved this, that she was the aggressor. You talked about how men are taught not to put a hand on a woman. I thought that was pretty powerful. I thought that was going to resonate a little bit more with the jury.
Yeah, I think that, you know, it was a long trial and the testimony came out. You know, the state got in a bunch of evidence about, like I said, the video interactions between George and Sarah. And some of that, it seemed like Sarah was berating him a little bit and talking down to him a
little bit, or a lot of it, a little bit of a lot of it. I don't think Sarah did a good job up on the stand. Owens is dreaming. Oh gosh, I read that incorrectly the first time. I thought it said, I think Sarah did a good job on the stand. Owens is dreamy. That's why I was going to read the comment. I was like, okay, we got a different opinion. It's because I read it wrong the first time. A little bit. He said a little bit. Just a little bit, you know, just a little bit.
Seemed like Sarah was berating him a little bit and talking down to him a little bit. And, you know, the state had argued that this was a mutual abusive situation, that Sarah verbally, emotionally maybe abused him. So I think there was some of that going on. Physically? In the relationship. It was a dysfunctional, toxic relationship. Obviously, those two didn't need to be together. But they, for whatever reason, they could not stay away from each other. And even when she had been battered multiple times by him over time, for whatever reason, they couldn't break up. And it just, I think everybody around, law enforcement, the neighbors, family, all knew how bad the situation was. But for whatever reason, they were drawn to each other and couldn't let go.
The judge made it clear before the verdict was read that he did not want any outbursts in the courtroom. We had one earlier from George Torres's family. No real reaction from Sarah Boone. I just saw her talking with you, but obviously, as you were mentioning, seems to be not very happy, devastated with the verdict.
Yeah, she couldn't believe it. We were optimistic. You know, we were optimistic, and I understand, you know, these things happen, and there's some murder charge. So, you know, somebody died. So it's difficult for a jury sometimes not to come back with something. And
Corky, do you think Sarah will get a good deal from the judge in sentencing? A good deal would be like what, the minimum 22 years? No, I don't think he'll give her 22 years. I think maybe 22 years if she had showed that she was sorry for what she did, regret, sadness. We haven't seen that from Sarah Boone. I think I don't know if he'll give her, I mean, someone said in the chat, I mean, basically getting 40 years, you know, 50 years is like pretty much life, right? Yeah, I feel like she's not going to get out until she's maybe 70s if she gets out. I don't know. I think he'll give her like 30 something years, maybe. I'm thinking like maybe 35 years. Maybe 35 years. I'm just pulling out of my ass, but maybe 35 years.
They came back with the highest charge. I was hoping maybe for something lesser, but we understand. Sarah's in shock. It happened, and then she was escorted out of the court fairly quickly, so we really didn't get a chance to talk that much. She said she would call me tomorrow. I'm going to be driving back home, and we'll talk. I'll be on the road for 6 hours, so we'll talk for however long.
Max, life in prison. Yeah, because I mean, again, the way that he died was a horrible death. I'm assuming it was a slow death because he didn't die of bleeding, right? And he didn't die of like the baseball injuries per the what's the name of the person again? Not the medical examiner. I forgot. Forensic examiner. Forensic person. But I don't know. I'm assuming that it was just a very slow death. Ooh, lawyer has a video scheduled for a few minutes from now about a new evidence in the Delphi case, opening doors for the defense. Ooh.
But I explained to her she had a right to an appeal, and she had 2 or 3 good appellate issues. So I told her to keep her head up.
Mr. Owens, you were not her first attorney. She went through several attorneys. How was she to work with?
Owens says she had a couple of things that she could appeal. Remember, he was asking for a mistrial. What was the mistrial again? He was accusing the state of discovery issues regarding. Oh, yes. The psychiatrist's testimony. Apparently, it had changed from what Owens found out in deposition versus what she was testifying. That was one. Owens asked for a mistrial when there was a family outburst during the video and how the family and the detective were sitting really close to each other. When else did Owens ask for a mistrial?
She was fine. I think once she realized, it wasn't just me, and I spent a lot of time down here with her. And then once she realized Tony Henderson really helped me out a lot with Sarah Boone. And, I've represented some difficult clients. I've been doing it quite a while. But Sarah, was, of course, she didn't want to give up the power because she'd had the case for 4.5 years. She had so many different lawyers. But I think once she started to trust us and realized that we really cared about her, we really believed in her, and we wanted to do everything we could to fight for her, I think she finally, it didn't take too long for her to develop a sense that we were really genuinely trying to help her. And I think once she saw how hard we were working and everything we were trying to do to help her, we didn't have a problem.
And you got involved with this case because you saw that she had taken out an ad.
Yeah, as you know, the court had ruled that she forfeited her right to a lawyer, a public lawyer. And so she was going to have.
Inmate seeks attorney looking for a prosperous challenge, ready for your up close on national television. Are you zealous with a side of keen? Show the world who you are with your original creativity, extraordinary expertise, confident ingenuity. Remember, Sarah Boone is a straight A art student. Look at the artwork. Qualifications must include being trustworthy, honest, passion-driven, open-minded, exceptional problem-solving skills, client inclusion at all times, learn orientation, collaboration, extremely efficiency in listening, communicating, understanding, dedication to success, possessing a winning mindset, capable of excellence in representation, committed, maintaining faith in the client and case with that ability to think differently, overcome all circumstances. Join the team now.
Have to represent herself, and I think she went to a couple of hearings and realized that that's a lot harder than it looks.
Yep. Epic opportunity awaits.
And that's when she had reached out for somebody in the private bar to take the case, and I came down and visited with her, and I agreed to do it. So we were in it to win it. We tried everything we could do to present the case in a fashion that the jury would consider her side.
I think one of the biggest moments was when you got the expert of the states to talk about the fact that she did believe that Sarah Boone suffered from battered spouse syndrome. I thought that was going to be a big game changer for you.
Well, it was. I've got some disagreements about how that was all handled because she came out with an opinion that she had never expressed before.
And then you had to conduct a deposition right there in court.
Yeah, I've never had to do that. That was a first, but it was a unique situation. Of course, you know, the judge had set a date certain about trying the case, so I had the case for about 45 days, but we tried to schedule Dr. Werner's deposition. I believe we took it on October the 4th, and then later on she came out with another opinion that I wasn't aware of until in the courtroom, and so the judge allowed me to take a deposition. I never heard of it happening before. First time it ever happened, but it did. And
I think that's why he was really unprepared to do it, because when he was taking the deposition, he was going hard at it with the expert on the stand. And the judge was like, okay, Mr. Owens, like, this is your chance. Take the deposition. Don't you want to ask her anything about the battered spouse and what she thinks about other stuff? And Owens like, oh, okay, yeah. So I don't know. I feel like Judge Kranick is, he truly is someone who has the aura of like a professor, you know, like when there are like seasoned attorneys, if they mess up on something, I feel like he's there to like teach them and school them a little bit.
you know, we did the best that we could to counter that and then to cross-examine her. But yeah, I think initially she had said she hadn't made up her mind about it, but I think after a little bit of time, she decided to go ahead and give the opinion that that Sarah did suffer from battered spouse, and that corroborated what Dr. Harper had said, that she did suffer from battered spouse syndrome. So I guess that was a good of that.
Any thought in hindsight that maybe there was a motion to eliminate for you not to use the battered spouse syndrome defense, to not talk about self-defense? Obviously, you got to be able to do that. The state was very clear. She needs to say there's an overt act. She eventually did. She said his hand coming out of the suitcase was that overt act. In hindsight, could there have been another strategy that you could have taken that could have been more successful? Maybe not argue battered spouse syndrome?
No, I don't think so. I think, you know, what she was saying in that 2-minute video to George while he was in the suitcase, I'm convinced was tied to the trauma that she had received from the abuse that she had suffered from George. And I just think Dr. Harper, you know, it's a complex syndrome. It really is, and it's difficult for lay people to understand. I've tried to talk to, you know, the psychologist, the psychiatrist about it to try to understand it. You know, why somebody wouldn't leave that situation. Why, you know, if they're getting beaten up, they're getting stabbed in the leg, why wouldn't you leave that situation? It's one of those things, it's a head scratcher for a lot of people. And so that's the reason you bring in expert testimony, is to try to explain that to a jury, what was going on. But it's difficult for people to really understand.
When Sarah Boone refused the plea offer, the judge made it very clear to her that the minimum he could sentence her to would be 22 years in prison. Is she prepared for the sentencing? It's going to be in December.
I don't think she's prepared. I don't believe that. You know, I think she was in hopes. You know, she was excited about us, and she felt like she had a defense. And
She probably thought, like I said, Thanksgiving, December, she was going to be spending time with her family.
that we were doing everything, and she
Her
had the
son.
experts lined up. So I don't think she was thinking about this at all. I think she was very optimistic. That's why she was optimistic during the trial.
Yes,
She was happy with us every day. She was happy with what we were doing. And, of course, you know, she understood that it was a valid defense in Florida, battered spouse using it to justify the force that you use. So, yeah, she's devastated, and she hadn't come to grips. Like I say, I'll talk to her tomorrow, but she was just stunned today.
Vinny also has a question. Vinny, what's the question?
Yeah, I had a couple questions.
Oh, look at Ben Chu. Hello, Mr. Chu. How you doing over there?
For James. First, at the sentencing, will this judge have much discretion in what the sentence can be? And do you expect Sarah to express any sense of remorse?
Oh, thank you, Vinny. Oh, my God. Vinny's always reading my mind. Thank you, Vinny. That's why we love Vinny. Vinny over there.
At sentencing.
At the sentencing, will the judge, Vinny's asking, at the sentencing, will the judge have any discretion? This is her first felony. The judge made that very clear. So that's the first question. And then the second question is, will Sarah Boone say something? Will she express any sort of remorse for what took place? Will she make a statement in allocution at her sentencing? I know we...
Oh, you see that big, deep breath in? Mr. Owens like, okay. yoga breaths, yoga breaths. Can I cover the Jodi Arias trial? So the Jodi Arias trial is so extensive. I wanted to. I started to. So her direct examination was like 3 weeks long. She was testifying for 3 fucking weeks long. And then her cross-examination was, how many days was it? Like 5, 10 days or something like that. It was pretty damn long. So I think we do have a Jodi Arias playlist. Yeah, we do have a Jodi Arias playlist that we watch. We watched the cross-examination with her, Juan Martinez, but it was just a very, very, very long trial. Was it 18 days? Oh gosh. Yes, Vinny is good. Vinny is good. Always straight to the point. Yeah, Vinny's always asking what we thinking. What we thinking. Nobody accepted the overt act. Yeah, because it sounds ridiculous. Man was trying to get out of the suitcase, all right? Both trials way too long. Like, if we were watching it live together as it was happening, yeah, you know, I'd be down. But oh my God, yeah, I don't know. We watched the cross-examination. It was very, very spicy. So definitely check out the Jodi Arias playlist. And I think... I'm trying to think, because I think we looked into, did we look into like the evidence and all that stuff too? I think we did. Yeah, Jodi Arias, a crazy one.
Any sort of remorse for what took place? Will she make a statement in allocution at her sentencing? I know you have to take some preparation time for that.
Ooh, that's another deep breath in.
I think the prosecutor had said the low end of the guidelines was 22 years, and I think the judge told Sarah that, so I think that probably is the minimum, unless there's something I'm missing, maybe a downward departure. I don't know that she would qualify, but you know, the judge has a range, and the judge has the discretion, and the judge, you know, is going to hear from the victim's family, and then the judge is going to hear from Dr. Harper, and ultimately the judge is going to have to hear from Sarah Boone about this. I don't know what her position is going to be.
That seems like a no to me. Do I think my client Sarah Boone is gonna show any source of remorse, any ounce of remorse whatsoever? Yeah, it sounds like a no to me.
But we'll see.
Mr. Owens, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice work.
All right, thanks.
All right, good job.
Vinny, that's the latest. We'll send it back to you.
Kelly Craft at the courthouse with Sarah.
Okay, so I want to listen to Ben Chu. I think he speaks about twice. Listen to Ben Chu. Actually, how long is this? It's not long.
Boone's attorney. We've got all our guests here. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more of our coverage. It's a
Yes.
Take us to Sarah Boone, right? She just found out, like less than an hour ago, that she could potentially be in prison for the rest of her life. She's not going home tonight. The jury did not believe her. What is tonight going to be like for Sarah Boone?
Yeah, do you think she's going to cry in her cell privately? So when the verdict was being read out, I thought she was about to cry, and then she held it in. But then when we watched it again, I was like, oh, I think she was just moving her lips. I thought, I don't know. I thought she was going to cry. But when I rewatched it again, I was like, oh, actually, no, I don't think she was about to cry. I think it was something else. Huh.
Well, I think she's probably in a state of shock, Vinny, and she's probably wishing that she took that plea about now. Mm-hmm. I don't think the jury found her argument to be very sympathetic. She basically heard him beg for his life, and she turned her back on him and was taunting him. So the battered woman defense just didn't fly with the jury.
And what are your thoughts tonight also? Because immediately after we saw a shot of George's family inside the courtroom. They left the courthouse. They didn't want to give a statement tonight, but they'll have an opportunity at sentencing to speak. What are your thoughts tonight about what it means for this family that George is never coming back, but the person that they believe was responsible was in fact held responsible here?
Well, I'm sure they find some sense of relief that he was held responsible. But listen, there are no winners here. There are only losers. Everyone loses in this case, and it's just a tragedy, however you slice it.
Let me ask you, Ben Chu, do you think Sarah Boone will demonstrate any sense of remorse at her sentencing?
I think we can all agree that Vinny's our true crime daddy. But who would be our mama? For me, it would be Anna Garcia. I don't know, man. You guys... Well, what's her name? Shit, her name fucking escapes me. She's on Law and Crime. Not Jessie. She's on Law and Crime. What's her name again? Lisette? Oh my gosh, how could I forget her name? What's her name? Oh, guys, help me out here. She's on Law and Crime. Law and Crime. Ann Jeanette. Okay. Did y'all see how Ann Jeanette chased down Carrie Morrissey after the Alec Baldwin shit. She chased her down so fast. She was like, you could hear her like losing breath, and she was like trying to catch her breath, and she was like trying to interview. I would not say Anjanette. Okay, Anjanette was like chasing down after her. Yeah, Anjanette Levy. I was like, you go, Anjanette, you go. You know, Anjanette, you might have to do a little more cardio, but yeah, she was like chasing down Carrie Morrissey, trying to get her words in before she was running out of breath. So I like Anjanette. I like Anjanette Levy. Nancy Grace. You know, I haven't really listened to the Nancy Grace. But Nancy Grace is like the like she's always done true crime stuff, right, for a very long time. Like I've always heard of Nancy Grace growing up, but I never really watched Nancy Grace. When is her sentencing? December 2nd, I believe. December 2nd.
When the rest of her life is in the hands of the judge?
I don't. I think she's been quite consistent, and I think suddenly pleading contrition would seem to be out of character for her.
Paulette?
But wouldn't it be good, though, to be like, okay, you know what, Judge? I had like a month to reflect about everything. You know, I'm glad that I didn't take the plea deal, because you know what? I do think that I deserve to serve a minimum 22 years. You know, maybe she could do something like that. Like, oh, I've had time to think about it. And Judge, you know, like, fuck. Like, this was a huge reality check for me. You know, going through the trial again, seeing the video again, going through all the evidence, and then getting a reminder of how mean I was to him in the video. You know, maybe she could say something like that. You know, maybe. Or it could just be like, Sarah, you manipulating us. You know, that's not true. You don't believe that.
Do you think she turns on James Owens, the man who volunteered his time, flew in from Pensacola, was watching this show and saw that there was someone facing murder charges who didn't have a lawyer? Do you think that she turns on him?
I really hope not.
Oh, no, please don't turn on Mr. Owens. Oh, no, you think she's going to be like, oh, Mr. Owens, you know, ineffective counsel. Oh, I hope not. That'd be so mean.
I love Mr. Owens' passion. I think he said it correctly. You know, everyone has a right to a trial, and sometimes you just have to try a case.
I know you hope she doesn't, but will she?
I don't think she will. I think Mr. Owens did as well as he possibly could. He did what she wanted him to do. He presented all of the defenses that she had been trying to make on her own. So I don't think that she's going to turn on him. I don't think so.
Bernarda, what do you think happens at the sentencing? How do you think it plays? What is she going to do? And what will prosecutors do here?
Well, you know what the prosecutors are going to do. Remember, that's when the victims that are impacted by the death of their loved one are going to be able to speak, and speak where there is no objection, where they're going to show their true emotions, where they don't have to suppress their emotions like they had to do during the trial inside of that courtroom, doing closing arguments or doing the testimony. So that sentencing is going to be very emotional. It's actually one of the most emotional stages of any criminal case, because it's the moment where you hear from the family members and they're expressing so much emotion about the loss of their loved one and how much they hate that resentment that they have towards the defendant for taking.
From all the trials that you guys have seen, from all the trials in sentencing, which defendant was the most convincing in their, I guess, in their statement to the judge? Like, hey, Judge, I'm sorry for what I did. I regret it. Blah, 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 blah. Who do you think sounded the most convincing? I mean, there were some that were just like, oh, I didn't do it, Judge. I didn't do it. But I meant like in terms of like feeling remorseful, feeling sad for the crime. Who do you think sounded very convincing? Amber's not even in, okay? She was no murder for Amber Heard. Shonda. Oh, Shonda's child, the teenage son. Okay. Yeah, that one's a really sad one. None were convincing. I think Owens asked the judge to ask her daily if she was happy with her defense. Yep, I'm glad that the judge did that. I'm glad. Do you think, hi girl, how are you doing today? Do you think the other video that Sarah took on George, who they play in court, that she was going to play as evidence, or what was that big surprise for her? Was it a big surprise for her? I mean, she knows what videos are on her phone. So like, you think maybe like she thought that they weren't going to play those videos in court? I think she would have to have known. Yes, Rain, I agree with you. That was the first one that came into my mind. Mr. Mew. Mr. Mew looked genuinely defeated. I know there are people that don't believe Mr. Mew should have got a guilty verdict, but Mr. Mew, I agree. He looked like he was like defeated. I mean, he is like in his like 50s. Mr. Mew, Shonda Vander Ark's teenage son, or he's probably not a teenager anymore, right? Ruby Frankie. Ruby. What did I think of Ruby? Ruby Frankie. Jody, I know. We were like, fuck no. Ruby. I think Ruby just knows what people want from her. I think Ruby is a people pleaser. But you know what? Maybe that gives him a chance to change, because she's like, okay, these are the expectations that people have of me now, and I want to live up to their expectations. But Ruby, I don't know. Ruby, I don't know. I don't know if she was just doing it because she thinks that's what people wanted to hear. Lori was convincingly mentally ill. Ruby Frankie. Sarah didn't show an ounce of remorse. Amber showed regret. Her act didn't work, though. No remorse. OJ. I didn't listen to the OJ one. Ruby's a good actor. Yeah, because I feel like Ruby was just people pleasing. But I do want Ruby to change, though, because she has a lot of children in her life. And, you know, let's say she gets out. We don't know when she gets out. Like, let's say she gets out, like, I don't know, 4 years, 8 years, 15 years. We want her to change because, you know, we want her to have a, you know, it'd be good for her children if she changed. But I wouldn't be surprised if her children wanted to cut her out. You hated Mr. Mew's verdict. She thought she was coming home. That evidence come late. Oh, hello. Who is that? Sea Breeze? Sea Breeze, thank you so much. What kind of doggo is that in your profile picture? Sea Breeze, thank you so much for joining the membership. Enjoy your baby corgi badge. It's going to be right next to your name, so you know, pop up in the channel. And then enjoy your emotes. We got some emotes on here, which I think I'm going to change. I just don't know how to do it on YouTube. I got to figure that out. Hi, Joe. How are you doing today? Hello, hello. How are we doing this Wednesday? Doing good. Doing good. Doing good. Who are you guys talking about? Leilani. Rip. Quentin Simon. Oh, Leilani. When is her sentencing? I totally agree with you. She's a evil, vile, cruel, evil monster. I really struggle with Muse too. The whole situation sucked. Her kids hate Ruby. No way they want her back. I don't know, Maureen. I think I heard that the family were pushing the kids to forgive their mom. Yikes. I feel like I remember hearing about that. I don't know, which I think is, I don't know. I think it's shitty. I think it's really shitty. I think let the kids decide what they want to do with mom. You don't need to try to convince them to have a good relationship with mom, but I feel like I remember that from somewhere. Maybe it was through the letters that they wrote to the judge or something. That the that Ruby's family, like brother, mom, dad, wrote to the family. Ruby doesn't deserve those kids. Ruby was so fake and just saying that she thought was expected. She showed very little sympathy to the kids, but you know, I don't know. It seems I think her ex-husband Kevin Frankie, I think he ate it up. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Frankie was still kind of hoping that his wife would change. I don't know. I feel I never really knew Leilani. All she did was blame Jody. She was abusing her kids the way before Jody showed up. She's sick in the head. Jody just elevated it. Yeah, she basically found her partner in crime that was going to co-sign all the bad actions that she was going to, you know, do to those kids. It's crazy. Thank you, Corgi. Been hanging out here since the Sarah craziness. Wolf is my totem. I'm talking. And live in. Oh, Wolf is my totem. I am talking, and I live in Southeast Alaska. Oh, Alaska. I hear sometimes the days and the nights in Alaska can be a little bit crazy. Her facial expression when she saw the suitcase, she's not sorry. Ruby was lending her kids out to other people as slaves, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I don't know. Ruby's like, I think she's up there for a manipulator. I don't know. She's like a master manipulator. But then she's also, to me, probably feels like the type of person who's easily manipulated as well. Because she was very, you know, she was a people pleaser. You thought Ruby seemed really calculated in her statement. Yeah, I don't know. The fact that she threw Jody under the bus, I wonder if Jody was like, fuck, I thought she was gonna be committed to me. Yeah, the fact that everything was blamed on Jody. It's like, ma'am, you're the mother. You allowed this woman to do these things to your kids. And it wasn't just her doing it. It wasn't like you were just standing around. It's like you were also participating in the abuse as well. I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. Are we listening to, where are we at? Mr. Benchu?
About the loss of their loved one and how much they hate and resentment that they have towards the defendant for taking the life away from that loved one. The question will be is whether Sarah Boone will be able to control herself, whether she'll be able to constrain herself and not responding to this family and not looking at them and not even going off on them and trying to blame them for what actually happened. So who knows what's going to happen into this courtroom, but we do know it's going to be an emotionally charged day.
Philip Dubé, my guess is this is going to be one of those inmates who will be filing papers till the end of time.
I wanted to talk about Laura before we ended stream. I wanted to talk about Laura, and since we're already talking about Delphi, I mean, I want to read the recap, but I was like, oh, you guys are here. I'll read the recap with you guys.
Till the end of time. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I've had clients like that. They commit what we call lawfare or the crime of barratry. It's actually on the books out here. It's just filing frivolous civil lawsuits, and they've actually criminalized it. In the civil world, they call it the vexatious litigant. But if it crosses that line where there's
the vexatious litigant, V-E-X-acious, A-C-I-O-U-S? What does he say? He said 3 words that I'm just like, what is this word?
it's actually, oh, I've had clients like that. They commit what we call lawfare or the crime of barratry. It's actually
lawfare or the crime of barratry.
On the books out here is just filing frivolous civil lawsuits, and they've actually criminalized it. In the civil world, they call it the vexatious litigant. But if it crosses that line where there's this intent to really vex.
Vex? I thought vex is just when you're annoyed of something. Oh, I guess a vexatious could be like an annoying, okay, like a nuisance. Gotcha. V for vendetta.
And annoy, it's criminalized where they can file criminal charges against you. I think a lot of it is going to depend on her diagnosis. We're going to hear at sentencing what her mental illness might be. My hunch is that it is a personality disorder, and those are the hardest to treat because there's no known medicinal treatment for it. It's typically dealt with through behavioral therapy, where you have to sit down in a one-on-one with a therapist wagging their finger at you, teaching.
I mean, Dr. Julie Harper says that she definitely suffers from PTSD. She's a battered spouse, and she's got depression. This was during the time of the murder, I think. Depressive disorder, right? I think that's what she said. And she has narcissistic traits, but I don't think he ever mentioned anything else about like having other personality disorders or anything.
You how to put your bad behavior in a box. But truthfully, the older you get, the harder it is to unlearn bad behavior. So I don't know that she will ever change. She's the type of person that will only get older, I think. And I hope for Mr. Owens' sake that nothing happens. And let's be honest, even if she does file, nothing will happen to him. You want to go to the state bar, go to the bar. He can probably even give her a stamp, help her fill out the forms. The bar's going to...
Owens is not helping her. Owens is like, bye. I'm going to help you with your sentencing and then peace out. Yeah, usually when I hear vex in a sentence, it's like vexed, like, oh, I'm vexed by this person. Never heard of vexatious before. Vexatious.
Close it out. Nothing's going to happen to the man. He was quite prepared, and he did a great job.
Yeah, all they have to do is take a look at the video of the trial. I mean, and the passion that he brought and why he was there. Yeah, but I fear for him.
Passion, yes. Preparedness. It was probably really hard because, you know, again, he thought that there was going to be a continuation. But he did the best he can under the circumstances.
I fear for him because, you know, he'll be potentially in her crosshairs at some point. All right, guests are staying with us. When we come back, we're going to try to wrap this up and put some sense of context on it.
She ain't no battered spouse. George was abused, controlled, and battered. So Dr. Julie Harper said that she was a battered spouse, and then also the state's experts said that she was a battered spouse. However, when the state talked about Sarah being a battered spouse, she qualified by saying that, well, I mean, we had to go off her statements. So, I mean, again, they get to look at the medical records. They get to look at, you know, the photos of the injuries, but they had to go off her statements, how to her, or her version of stories of her relation between her and George. So it's a lot of like self-reporting happening. And of course, they can look at other things as a whole as well. But with that one, it's hard because you're not like a fly on the wall during the times when George and Sarah were fighting, right? You have very limited information, and then you only have one person who's alive to fill in the gaps. So when the state was like, yeah, she's a battered spouse, you know, and she qualified it by saying, like, oh, you know, based off what Sarah self-reported.
But the headline is huge tonight. Sarah Boone, guilty of the top charge of second-degree murder in the suitcase murder trial.
I think Benchu comes back one more time. Mr. Benchu. I feel like I saw Mr. Benchu. Benchu. Let's see.
How do you see the dynamic between these two? Because they, we heard one story about.
What do you mean? She looks like, hold on, someone made a comment about her. She looks like Cher. Cher, right? Cher. Am I thinking of the right rock star? Yeah, Cher. Long, black hair. Very celebrity-like.
The domestic abuse, the spousal syndrome, all of that. On the other hand, we saw and heard the video. We see that video. It seems like every time a videotape is recording, Sarah Boone's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
It really shows the toxicity and the dysfunctionality within the relationship. And it really casts her in a very negative light. And not only shows you what she's capable of, but shows you who she
Oh my God, this background. What is this background? This is like GTA or something? I don't know, it hurts my eyes. There's too many bright lights.
she is as a person, and she really comes across as a less than sympathetic figure.
Bernarda, what if, like from the beginning of this story, and we covered it from the beginning, she had come outside, and when
Morticia's very sexy.
she spoke to 911, she spoke to the first officer, had just said, we were drinking, I was drunk, I was out of my mind, I was taunting him, and then I passed out. And I wish that I didn't pass out. I can't believe I killed him. What do you think if she had said that from the beginning, acknowledged it, showed some level of remorse, how do you think this whole thing would have been handled?
If Sarah Boone had said from the very beginning, when the cops responded, that she was passed out, she was drinking, this was an accident, you know what would have happened, Vinny? Having been a prosecutor for 16 years, she would not have been charged with murder. More than likely, she would have been charged with manslaughter, but she wouldn't have been charged with that high count of murder. So the charging decisions would have been different.
Paulette Lofton, let me ask you, how different would this trial have been without the video?
I don't know, though. Manslaughter, though, but even with the injuries, the issue was the injuries that he had from the baseball bat. If George had just went in the suitcase and he just suffocated and there were no injuries from the baseball bat, okay, like maybe it's like we were playing hide and go seek, he hid in the suitcase, I was so drunk I forgot about him. Sure, maybe you can convince some people with that. But he had these fucking injuries, and that's why in the interrogation, when the law enforcement was asking her, okay, so where did these bruises come from? Where did the ball in his head come from? Where did this come from? She's like, I don't know. I don't know where it came from. Things were good between the two of us. It's like, okay, well, was there anyone else in the apartment with you? No. I don't know. Maybe Sarah Boone should have done the Jodi Arias thing. Oh, man, there was like these two people that were trying to like home invade us, and like they had to put George in the suitcase because George was like the major threat and I was just a woman. And, they came in, they messed the house around, they robbed us, and they left, and I passed out because I was so drunk. I don't know. But I don't know. I think it was really hard to explain away those injuries that he had.
Oh, I think it would have been completely different. Without the videos, without her interrogation, I agree. I think she definitely could have walked, or it could have been manslaughter. I think that video and the fact that she tried to say...
What about the bruises? I don't know, man. Manslaughter with the bruises?
Say that there was this whole other section of time where there wasn't a video. I think that really did a number on her chances.
Philip Dubé, are you feeling philosophical tonight? Is there any lesson? These tragedies that we cover, I try to glean something from them. Is there any sort of a lesson or something we can take away from all this?
Think tank, number one, don't talk to the cops. They want to take you down to the station and talk to you. Don't say a word.
I wasn't asking.
No, talk to them. Okay, self-snitch. Make it easier for us.
For advice for criminal defendants, Philip Dubé.
Why not? Please, come on now. No. First of all, I'm a firm believer in taking early responsibility. Had she early on really tried to resolve the case, you never know. Maybe they could have resolved it for like an involuntary manslaughter, the culpable negligence theory, rather than it being an intentional reckless disregard type homicide theory. She's not going to walk away from this. I truly believe that had she have even come clean at the gate with the cops, they still would have hooked her up and hauled her in. She's just not going to walk away. The only question is what degree of homicide they would file on her. But the more cooperative she is, the less chatty she is, the less video she has, the less evidence they have. So I think the lesson...
Look at her trying to explain, oh, look, I left enough room for him to come out the zipper. Oh, my God, Sarah. So...
here is don't record your crimes, don't memorialize your crimes, and shut your pie hole if the cops want to come talk to you.
Okay, we've got folks who can bleep all of that out, because if there's any criminal defendants listening now, we don't need to help them along the way here, Phil.
Thank you. Thank you, Vinny. I'm like, no, tell them to confess. It makes it easier for us. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're accused of a crime, don't be doing these things. But there are some people out there that do, and it makes it easier. All right, it makes it easier.
Let me ask you, Ben Chu, what are you going to take away? Like, a year from now, when you think back about this case, what's the image that's going to come into your mind, and what do you think is going to stick with the public when it comes to Sarah Boone and the suitcase murder trial?
I think the prosecutor's description of the suitcase as a coffin. I mean, that.
Okay, I'm being nosy. I just want to know, what is all that stuff back there? I see the Beatles. Like, this is so interesting. There's so much cool shit back there. Like, what does he have back there? I wish I could zoom in and enhance. I think lots of Beatles stuff back there, right? Seems to be a huge fan of the Beatles. Is there like some music stuff over here? Lots of music stuff going on here. I want to know what's behind that. Can we do a little room tour, Ben? Ben, can we do a room tour? Turn around.
Description of the suitcase as a coffin. I mean, that is something that is fixed in my mind and then juxtaposed with the baseball bat. And the combination is ineffable cruelty.
Dr. Bober, let me ask you, what do you think was the underlying cause of what happened here? Is it the alcohol? Is it a sense of evil? How did we end up where we ended up here with George Torres dead?
I think it was the perfect storm. I think it was the rage over the relationship, over feeling abused, combined with the alcohol, and taken all together, it had lethal consequences. So I think it was a combination of factors.
And let me ask you this. Is there any way for folks who are...
Oh, and when Mr. J took that baseball bat and was like, yeah, the bruises on George's back, his back would have been here. Boom, boom, boom. Do you guys notice it's hard right here? Huh. Well, you guys don't have to believe that George got these injuries inside of a suitcase. He could have been outside. You don't have to take her word for it. It's like, oh, man. Good job, Mr. J. Good job. Mr. J doing so good. He's doing so good in closing argument.
We're in a relationship like that, to resolve that relationship without breaking up the relationship.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe it was like something like skin surgery. Kara, she had surgery for skin cancer is what I heard. Like if she had like a skin growth or something like that was like cancerous and they had to remove it. I was thinking maybe it was like something like that.
Or is if you're in a toxic situation, is the only way to safety just to walk away from one another?
Well, it's beyond the scope of this program, but what I would tell people who are going through these types of relationships is that you have to try to get therapy, get counseling. But if you need to extricate yourself from the relationship, it's very important to have a safety plan to get yourself out of the relationship. And that includes covering all your financial needs, your emotional needs, where you're going to reside. And you really have to come up with a plan and execute that plan with your support system. That's the only way out.
Big thank you to all our guests working late on a Friday night for this verdict night. Bernardo Villalona, Ben Chu, Dr. Daniel Bober.
Okay. All right. Well, we got to hear from them. Jesus. I think Sarah stayed with George until he died. I don't believe he died alone. Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't believe that she went upstairs and fell asleep on the bed. I think she sat there falling asleep to him crying out to her. I do. I don't know. But, that's just a me thing. It's just a me thing. It was a good closing. Yeah, he did a really good job in closing arguments. Okay, so we talked about this very briefly, but for those of you guys who don't know, I don't know if you guys are following, but we have another interesting person, Lori Vallow. I just want to talk about this very briefly because Lori Vallow apparently wants to represent herself now. I don't know why. Did she not hear about Sarah Boone? Did she not hear about what a struggle it is to represent yourself? So Lori Vallow wants to be pro se, and she's already been convicted, right, for the murder of her 2 children. And now she was transported to Arizona because there is another murder that she was accused of, and that's the murder of her ex-husband, Charles Vallow, and the attempted murder of her niece's husband, I think. Niece's husband. So I'm not really sure what's the family tree there. Like, what would you call that? Like nephew-in-law, maybe? So Lori Vallow wants to represent herself. I'm like, I don't know why. And before we I just want to briefly talk about Lori Vallow, and then I want to talk about Delphi very quickly as well, because Delphi stuff is a very interesting case. From hearing about the trial so far from Andrea Barkhart when she was on Laura podcast, I think it was very interesting. I definitely recommend you guys check that out. Definitely check that out. I was listening to it yesterday. Praise the Lord. Who are we praising? Oh, the Lord. Who are we praising? Sam's rock collection. She was not a battered spouse. No lawyer worthy for the goddess Lori Vallow. Yeah, I just want to talk about Lori Vallow really quickly, just very quickly. So Lori Vallow. Here's her indictment. The grand jurors of Maricopa County, Arizona, accused Lori N. Vallow on February 24th, 2022. Wow. 2022. That's not even that long ago. It doesn't feel like it's only like, yeah, it's not that long ago. Charging that in Maricopa County, Arizona, count 1, Lori N. Vallow on or about October 2nd, 2019, with the intent to promote or aid the commission of offense, to wit, Lori N. Vallow agreed with Alexander Cox. That's her brother. Her brother apparently had some issues because he was in a very bad, was it a car accident or something where it affected his mind? So I don't know if that's a huge factor in his decision making, or if he just listened to his older sister no matter what, because, you know, he worshipped her or he believed in her. I don't know. Maybe they were both brainwashed, or maybe he was brainwashed. But Alexander Cox is her brother. He's no longer here. He's deceased already because he had, what did he die from again? Was it a brain aneurysm or something like that? Oh, pulmonary edema. Is that what it was? Okay. So agreed with Alexander Cox, her brother, that at least one of them or another would engage in conduct constituting the offense of first-degree premeditated murder. The state further alleges that the offense charged in this count is dangerous felony because the offense involved the discharge, use, or threatening exhibition of a gun. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. Lori Vallow was convicted of the murders of her 2 children and also her new husband, Chad Daybell's wife. Not ex-wife, because, you know, they were married at the time. Wife. All right. The state further alleges that the offense charged in this count is dangerous felony because the offense involved the discharge, use, or threatening exhibition of a gun, a deadly weapon, or dangerous instrument, and or the intentional or knowing infliction of serious physical injury upon Brandon Bordeaux. So that is her niece's husband. We'll see what happens. So Lori Vallow, I tried to, I don't know, I couldn't, these aren't documents I can click on. So I don't know if it just shows like what the documents are and you just can't click on it, which kind of sucks because, you know, I would love to see the, I want to see it. But on 10/25, that was 5 days ago, we have a withdrawal of counsel. So whoever was representing Lori Vallow withdrew. And, you know, Lori Vallow was like, fuck you guys. I want to represent myself. I got this. But Lori Vallow, Lori Vallow, there's a lot of things off about her. Lori Vallow has waived her right to counsel once to represent herself against murder charges in Arizona, according to court documents. The filing dated October 25th states the court received a motion to withdraw from Vallow's public defender on October 21st. It also states Vallow requested to waive her right to counsel and represent herself on October 16. According to the filing, the judge will defer Vallow's request until the conclusion of her Rule 11 process. Last week, a judge granted her defense team request for a competency evaluation. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she's competent, if she's like faking to be. I actually don't know if she's like mentally ill or not. I don't know. I think so. I don't know. I think so. Last week, a judge granted her defense team request for a competency evaluation. The 2 mental health experts will evaluate Vallow before her trial can move forward. In Idaho, Vallow was sentenced to life in prison without parole, or like just maybe like really delusional. I don't know. Vallow was sentenced to life in prison without parole for the murders of her 2 youngest children, Tylee, Ryan, and JJ Vallow, and her 5th husband's first wife, Tammy Daybell. Chad Daybell was sentenced to death for the murder of his first wife, Tammy, and Vallow's youngest children. Vallow is currently in Arizona awaiting trial for the murder of her 4th husband, Charles Vallow, and the attempted murder of her niece's ex-husband. Oh, it was ex-husband. Niece's ex-husband, Brandon Bordeaux. Were they together at the time, though? I wonder if Owens will volunteer to represent Lori Vallow next. I think Owens, Florida, you know, even him traveling from where he was in Florida to Orlando, what was that, like 2 to 3 hours? Yeah, I don't know. And then also to practice in a different state. That seems like a headache. But I don't know. Maybe, you know what? Maybe send Lori Vallow to James Owens' way. You know, maybe he'll consider. You think Owens is over it? So yeah, we'll see what happens with Lori Vallow. I don't know why she would want to represent herself. That's a headache. That's a fucking headache. All right, and then lastly, so we were talking about the Delphi murders trial. I want to read the recap with Court TV because I was already planning on doing it since I'm very intrigued about this. But I was like, you know what? I have you guys here. Well, we can just read it together. Why not? Let's read it together because it sucks that we can't watch the trial. It's not being live streamed. It's closed, unfortunately. No, I haven't listened to it yet. Have you listened to Kobe Bryant's call with his mom? Oh my gosh, I bet you it's so frustrating and super sad. I have not. I saw that. I think he has a podcast, right? And I saw that he talked about that, and people were reacting to it on YouTube. I have not listened to it yet, but I've heard the phone call with Lori, and there was a different phone call with Lori and her son from back then, and then Lori and her sister, and it's just super sad. It's super sad to talk to someone who's just delusional. Super sad. How is Owens getting paid? Well, Owens was doing it pro bono. There were some accusations that he was doing it for the rights of Sarah Boone's book, and he said, no, that's not true. That is not true. I remember how Billy Politan, reporting for months on the Trout Jody areas, eventually started pronouncing Maricopa County, kind of like sing-a-song it, you know, playfully. Maricopa County. I don't know. I don't know how he said it. Owens ain't getting paid unless Sarah gets a book deal. I mean, Sarah can't get a book deal unless it's different in Florida. Apparently, if you're convicted, you can't make money off the proceeds of the crime that you committed unless it's different in Florida. I mean, I think it's good for Owens because now we know who Owens is, right? If y'all need to hire someone in Florida, you can hit up Mr. Owens. If there's also another suitcase-related murder happening, you know, court TV, law and crime, they can hit up Owens. Be like, hey, what do you think about this, Mr. Owens? You represented a client that murdered her boyfriend by putting him in a suitcase and then beating him to death. What are your thoughts about this? So I think, you know, I think it's good for Owens. He's on your map. Yeah, exactly. If y'all in Florida, y'all need someone to defend you. Let me use the restroom really quick. I'll be right back. I need a stretch too. Oh my God, I need a stretch. Whew, my legs are so sore. Son of Sam law is in most states. Is it in Florida as well? Owens is a guy you get when you have zero chance of winning. You're still not going to win, but at least you're going to have some fun during the trial and when he goes ballistic. I don't know. Maybe he has a good track record, you know? I didn't look him up. I don't know what his win-lose ratio is. Okay. All right, y'all. Let's just do this quick reading. Because I am curious what's going on in the Delphi trial that's happening right now. And again, it's not being televised. I think this started around the same time as Sarah Boone's trial, right? I think what's happening. Yeah, the same time. Maybe only a rich and famous guilty person would hire Owens as a lawyer to make a fool of themselves asking for professional hair. I mean, you know, Mr. Owens, he did what the client asked, you know? And I'm pretty sure when he went up there asking for certain things, you know, he felt probably foolish, but he did it for his client. He did it for his client. Sarah Owens and IOU, possibly. Maybe it was like, hey, you know, if I get out, if I'm acquitted, I'll work in your, I'll work in your legal office or something like that. I was thinking of Casey Anthony because there was a doc that came out and Casey Anthony was working with her, the PI? think there's a PI that worked on her case, and then she still works with him to this very day, or at least when the doc came out. All right, y'all. Delphi murders. Day one. Imagine calling somewhere and then Boone is the receptionist. No, thank you. That sounds like a headache. I'm good. Thank you. Especially if she's going to curse me out and say, that's my name. Don't wear it out. You're out of the loop with this one. I wonder if there's a good, jurors reviewed murder evidence. Oh, you know what? I didn't know Richard Allen was short. I don't know why. In the pictures, it looks like he's like a tall, big dude. Because apparently there were witnesses that day that spotted like a tall man. Richard Allen's only like 5'4", which I didn't know that. He looks. I don't know. In the pictures, I was like, oh, he looks like a tall dude. I just assumed. Yeah, he's 5'4". I didn't know that. I did not know that. Maybe I'll read this recap here for you guys. I don't want to recap it. I don't want to butcher it because I learned like a huge chunk of the information yesterday. So what is this? What is this ad? I don't know if he's innocent, but people are saying that he's not getting a fair trial. And you know, innocent or not, everyone deserves a fair trial. Okay, how do I... There we go. If you zoom in enough, you don't get the ads on the side, which is nice. All right. It has taken more than 7 years for prosecutors to bring evidence regarding the murders of Abby Williams, 13, and Libby German, 14, before a jury. So this is a small town in Delphi. For 8 days, 7 women and 5 men have sat in the jury box of Carroll County courtroom and listened to the accounts of family members, witnesses, experts, police officers in the state's pursuit of Richard Allen, 52. They've been told that for 5.5 years, after bursts of tips and slight initial progress, the investigation into the murders went cold, save for video captured on Libby's cell phone of Bridge Guy, the suspected killer. Yeah, it's crazy. So Libby was filming. The last time they were spotted was on the bridge, and Libby had her cell phone and she was recording. I don't know if it looked like she was like incognito recording, but she was recording, and it seems like she was trying to capture, there was like a guy behind them. And so... unfortunately, we can't really see the guy. It's kind of like blurry, maybe like pixelated. But you do hear the guy's voice on the video. So on Libby's cell phone, the Bridge Guy, the suspected killer, stalking the girls on Monon High Bridge and then ordering them, guys, down the hill towards the south bank of Deer Creek following the next day, February 14, 2017, with the discovery of the bodies and a single unfired bullet buried nose first into the ground at the crime scene, at least 20 yards up the opposite creek bank on the private property. Dr. Rowland, a pathologist who conducted the autopsy, said both girls died of deep lacerations to the neck, but there were no signs of SA injury. I thought there were signs on one of the girls of SA. Though a pair of sketches were generated as a result of witness description of men, one middle-aged, the other significantly younger, who were spotted on the natural trail leading up the bridge that day, investigators remain stymied in their search for the alleged killer. The sketches were ruled out by the trial by Special Judge Fran Gohl, who agreed with prosecutor Nicholas McLeland that since the renditions did not resemble Allen, inclusion in the evidence could only serve to confuse the jurors, which is the point of the defense's team's attempt to introduce them as evidence. Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't you want to be like, hey, you know, there are people that said this is what the suspect looked like. And then if it didn't look like Richard Allen, well, duh. Why can't the defense use them? Okay. A reference to the sketches by a woman on the witness stand last week, however, may open the door to reconsider the judge's ruling. I mean, I feel like that could be huge for the defense. The younger one's picture had been called Justin Timberlake. Oh, I haven't seen that. Some essay is not obvious. I thought that it was obvious on one of the victims. After years of seemingly cold investigation, despite Indiana State Police assurances the case was still active, on September 21, 2022, 2 years ago, Kathy Shank, a volunteer who was tasked with scanning bankers' boxes full of files in a central investigative data box. Korangal, thank you so much for the 25. The state's release information in this case has been very hard to understand. Yeah. It's not transparent with the public. A lot of it is sealed, and it's really hard for the public to even get any information about this. At some point, I kind of just gave up. And then now that the trial is happening, I mean, my interest has peaked again. Kathy Shank, a volunteer who was tasked with scanning bankers' boxes full of files in a central investigative database, pulled open the drawer of desk in a soon-to-be abandoned office and discovered a file that contained an initial tip sheet from February of 2017, just a couple days after the murders, in which a man listed as Rick Allen Whiteman called in to self-report that he was on the bridge that day if his name should come up or investigators wanted to ask him questions. On the tip sheet, someone had written the word cleared. Shank testified that she read the report and immediately identified a clerical error that misinterpreted Allen's home address of Whiteman Drive as his last name. The retired government employee took the file to Chief Deputy Tony Liggett of the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, who was running for sheriff for the upcoming election less than 2 months away, and he began an investigation to Allen. So is this sentence, I don't know, this sentence sounds like, maybe the sheriff was like gung-ho on this information because his election was coming up again? Maybe. First confirming that he drove a black 2016 Ford Focus. A security camera captured the image of a car resembling Allen's vehicle parked at a business along County Road 300 North, which runs along the border of a private property where the bodies were found. So when this went out in the news, Richard Allen, who is the defendant on this, Richard Allen said that, hey, I was there that day. And someone on the police team was like, okay, well, they probably talked to him and they marked him as cleared. However, the employee that was going through these old files was looking through them and was like, oh, wait, actually, there's a clerical error here. His last name is not Whiteman. Whiteman is the name of the road that he lives on or something like that. Sarah Carball told jurors she saw a bridge guy walking along the road covered with mud as if he had fallen to the creek or down the hill approximately 90 minutes after investigators say the girls were killed. Hey, Marco, how are you doing today? How's it going? The fact one was, nude. Carball did not say Allen resembled bridge guy, and even though the defendant is 5'4" and approximately 145 pounds, neither the prosecution nor the defense asked the witness to describe the size of the man that she saw. Huh? Why not? Indiana Department of Natural Resources Officer Dan Doolin received a original Rick Allen Whiteman tip to follow up on February 16, 2017, 2 days after the bodies were discovered and more than 5 years before the misfiled original report would be discovered. Doolin testified that he interviewed Allen in the parking lot of a grocery store after unsuccessful attempts to meet him at his home or Delphi Police Headquarters. Apparently he was working, Richard Allen was working at CVS Pharmacy, I think. The conservation officer said Allen told him he was on the bridge trail between 1 and 3 p.m. on February 13, but later revised that timeline to 1:30 to 3:30. Doolin said he did not find any reason to believe Allen's story that he had parked his car near County Road 300 North, that he spotted 3 young women walking on the trail, that he was focused on his cell phone and reading a stock ticker during his walk to the bridge, and upon his arrival, watched fish in the water 60 feet below. Allen showed Doolin the phone he was carrying, and the officer wrote down its model and other identifying information. I hadn't been able to dive into this one too deeply. Those poor girls, I hate this for their loved ones. Yeah, it's so sad. I mean, 2017, it's like 7 years ago. Upon a call from the investigators in the fall of 2022, Doolin said that he plugged Allen's name into the DNR database and discovered that upon renewal of his fishing license 6 weeks after the killing, Allen changed the height of his permit from 5'4" to 5'6", which the officer told jurors he found odd. Okay, so maybe changing it that way. If anyone says, "Oh, this guy was 5'4", really short man found around Libby and oh gosh, Libby and Abby. Okay, I don't know. I was thinking Abby, but I was like, wait, maybe that's wrong. I didn't want to get the names wrong. So maybe, he was just like wanting to change his information on the driver's license so they wouldn't be, if they were looking for a 5'4" man and they put up the I guess, the license database. It'd be like, oh, this guy who's 5'6", it doesn't match. I don't know, maybe? I mean, it's only a difference of two inches. On October 13, 2022, Liggett and former Delphi police chief Steve Mullen, who had retired to become a chief investigator for the Carroll County prosecutor, called Allen in to DPD headquarters for an interview, advised him of his Miranda rights, remain silent and have an attorney present during questioning, showed him the photograph of Bridge Guy, and told Allen he was the suspect in the girl's murder. Mr. Owens just talking about how, you know, he tried to urge Sarah Boone to take the plea deal and just talk about how she was in shock and all that. Allen reportedly changed the timeline of his walk along the High Bridge Trail that day to noon to 1:30 and left the interview after denying he was the killer. Hours later, Indiana State Troopers conducted a search warrant on Allen's Whiteman's drive home, discovering several large knives, more than 24 cell phones, pagers, a .40 caliber 6-hour semi-automatic handgun, and an unspent bullet. Apparently, the .40 caliber 6-hour matches the unspent bullet that matched the one that was found at the crime scene. This case has so many twists. Missing during the search was a cell phone Allen showed DNR Officer Doolin during his initial interview in 2016-17. Wait, so what was his explanation for having so many cell phones? Why does he have 24 cell phones? As Allen sat in detective's car in the driveway during the search, ISP Sergeant Jerry Holman, since promoted to lieutenant, told Allen that if investigators damaged his home during the search, there would be forms available to seek state compensation. Holman told jurors that Allen said it doesn't matter in response to his statement. Holman also claimed that Allen told him it's over twice. Holman testified he didn't know what Allen's comment meant until he conducted a further interview 2 weeks later. So are there body cam footages is what I want to know. And then also, what other footages do we have? Was he a cell phone merchant? I understand when he was working at CVS. Local guy working at CVS. Hey, CK, how are you doing today? Hello. Thanks for jumping on in. A former Indiana State Police forensic firearms examiner, Melissa Oper, told jurors that she identified 3 distinct scratches on the base of the .40 caliber Winchester Smith & Wesson unfired bullet that was found at the crime scene. After 6 unsuccessful attempts to replicate, guys, like, I don't know, this sounds pretty important right here. 6 times she tried to replicate those scratches on the test bullets dry cycled through Allen's gun at the crime lab. She resorted to firing 4 bullets from the gun into a tank of water, and 2 of those rounds, though potentially altered by the heat and pressure of the firing process, did display ejection marks similar to the unfired cartridge discovered near the body. So she tried 6 times to replicate the same scratches on the test bullets and didn't work. So I guess she resorted to trying it a different way. And then at that point, that's when the marks were similar. Police theorized that Allen, as Bridge Guy, may have cycled 1 round of the chamber into his handgun when first encountering Libby and Abby at the south end of the Monon High Bridge, as recorded on Libby's cell phone video, and then later ejected that bullet at the crime scene, perhaps to scare his victims. Based on the bullet evidence and witness accounts, investigators called Allen in for one last interview at State Police Lafayette Post on October 26, 2022. As Holman told jurors, it was a standard procedure to lie to a suspect during interrogation, Sarah Boone, even though he told Allen that it's not ethical. Holman said Allen denied more than 20 times that he had killed Abby and Libby, even after the detective admitted that he told Allen falsely that witnesses had identified him on the bridge and that experts had determined his voice matched that of Bridge Guy on Libby's phone. Do you guys have a link for the bridge footage on Libby's phone? Or do we only see screenshots of it? Have we seen the video? Have you seen the bridge? It looks so scary. I'd never cross it. All bridges to me look pretty scary. Yeah, 6 hours are so common as fuck. Even the cops use them. Yeah, I mean, how many cases have we covered where 6 hour gets brought up in like gun-related stuff? Bridge Guy is heard saying, "Guys, down the hill." As Libby responds, "There's no path there." Or, "See, the trail ends here." Or, "We got to go down here." I heard forensic firearm expert on the stand for 9 hours. I heard. Oh my gosh. I would have been like, that would have been really hard for me to pay attention. No, man, you have to see the bridge. It's insane. It's called Monon High Bridge. Okay. So for the rest of you guys, so you guys can see. Monon High Bridge. Give me a second. You have a fascination for bridges? Wait, that's not it. Hold on. Oh, Monon High Bridge. Monon High Bridge. This one, right? That bridge right there? This right here. I don't think that's it. Yeah, this one right here. It's just like a bridge. I don't know. I would be scared if my foot went through that or something. Is there more than one video? I don't know. Is there more than one video? I've only heard of that one video. I think his interrogation video is up, right? Get a side view. Mon and High Bridge. Let's see. Oh. How about this one? This is on Reddit. Let's see. Oh, this right here? Oh my goodness. Oh no. No, no. Is this it? Oh no. What is this? What is this bridge for? Was it for trains? Oh my god. Wait, is this the bridge? This looks so... I didn't know it was this high up. Holy shit. Yeah, that's the bridge. I would never cross that shit. Holy crap. Who is this content creator? Mobile Instinct? Mobile Instinct went there. Holy crap. That's... no, no, no. That bridge looks CGI. Oh gosh. Looks like something out of Indiana Jones movie. Yeah, that's a no from me. Holy crap. You seen way more dangerous bridges? I would never... Oh my gosh. No, that looks so scary. Oh, is this the bridge guy video?
And no, you know,
I think that's the bridge guy video.
so the story of Abby and Libby has been told many, many times, and you know, exhaustingly done. But not that that's a bad thing. I mean, the more exposure, the better. You never know who is going to hear the next podcast or see the next video, and
Oh, so eerie. Let me see if you can find.
Tuesday, the jury saw the entire video of the suspected killer being shot in girls was in the
investigators talk. This fuzzy moment of video circulated for years as investigators search for
It's got a gate stopping people now. I don't know. Is that gate high enough for to stop people though? Can people just hop over it?
a suspect, a man known as Alan, went for a walk. Our reporter in the court
Video recorded 2:13 p.m. Camera pointed down at a bridge. Livy's voice. There's no path.
room, Bob Siegel, said he could hear a girl's voice saying there's no path at one point. He learned that voice is Libby's. An investigator said his examination detected a male voice saying down the hill. A state police forensic examiner explained how he enhanced the video, adjusting color, size, angle, and more to create a usable image for investigators.
Woo. Yeah, I don't know. That bridge looks way too scary. I'm too scared for that. When I was a teenager, I loved doing adventurous shit, you know, haunted houses and that, but that bridge I would have been like, no. Looks high in the photos. Teenagers can climb anything. When I was an exchange student in the U.S., my host's father and I walked on a derelict bridge and we got a citation for criminal trespassing. We had to appear in court. LOL. Oh, no. Breaking them rules. All right, the audio played twice for jurors is open for interpretation, which was disregarded by the judge. The bridge guy is heard saying, "This be a gun." The detective said that while he reminded Allen the start of October 26, 2022 interview about his Miranda rights given 2 weeks before, that admonition was not captured on video because we have a lot of technical difficulties throughout the investigation. Holman also admitted to jurors that he had misrepresented represented Oberg's firearms matching findings to other investigators. He did not record Allen's conversation in his car. Oh, he didn't? See, that's what I was wondering. I was like, do we have the body cam of this? He did not record Allen's conversation in the car the day of the search warrant, even though he received interrogation and body language training in interviewing subjects. I'm not an expert at it. Did not view crucial security video of the black car near the murder scene. Didn't know the names of specific witnesses and believed at the one time that more than one suspect was involved in the slaying. I just wanted to read more about the timeline. Okay, let's go to the timeline. I just want to get a little bit about just like the beginning stuff. Let's talk about the trial timeline. They found his jacket. Whose jacket was it? Richard Allen's jacket? Yeah, there's a lot of video, audio they won't show. Gotcha. All right, y'all. So day one, a jury of 8 women, 4 men heard opening statements in Richard Allen's trial. Carroll County. Why did I say it like that? Oh no, could I not? Sorry, I was trying to zoom in more for you guys. Is this good? Carroll County Prosecutor Nicholas McLeland delivered the opening statements for the state in about 15 minutes? Opening statements? Wow, that's pretty short. McLeland told the jury this case is about three things: BG, bridge guy, a bullet, and a brutal murder of two girls. The prosecutor said that Allen used a gun to force the girls down the hill before killing them. His intent was to have his way with them, but got interrupted, McLeland said, and that Allen left behind a clue, a bullet. McLeland told the jury they would hear Allen placing himself on the bridge unsolicited, unprovoked admission to the crime. Unsolicited, unprovoked admission to the crime. You'll hear Richard Allen in his own words telling his wife, his mom, and others that he did it, how he did it, and why he did it. But was that after he was in, apparently when they took him in, he was in solitary confinement for like a year plus, right? And like mentally he was deteriorating, and that's when he decided to admit that he did it. I mean, being in solitary confinement by yourself, and that's what solitary confinement is, for over a year, I don't know. I feel like that could really mentally fuck you up. Hey, 41 Vegas, how are you doing today? Just saying hi. Love this channel. Thank you so much, Vegas. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Ari admits to wearing clothes similar to the bridge guy, but everyone in the town had clothes like that. Ari said that he had a red car before the black one. Ari is like, Richard Allen, what is going on in this world that we are living in? Crazy shit sometimes. Crazy shit. After 4 months in solitary confinement, I heard it was like over a year in solitary confinement. Maybe I heard incorrectly. In Allen's defense attorney's hour-long opening statement. Crazy. So defense attorney's opening statement was an hour long. The state was 15 minutes. Okay. Andrew Baldwin said Allen confessed to a crime that he did not commit after suffering trauma from the investigation and imprisonment. Richard Allen is an innocent man, Baldwin said, and the evidence will prove it. Baldwin said the girls were not shot, but instead insisted their throats were, where's that? Richard Allen confessed to shooting these girls in the back, but they weren't shot, Baldwin said. Richard Allen confessed to a crime he did not commit. Oh, so when he confessed, it wasn't even the same way of murder. It wasn't even the same method of murder that happened to the girls. Richard Allen said he killed his family and his grandchildren. Baldwin said he doesn't have grandchildren. His family wasn't killed. Richard Allen allegedly confessed to them and burying them in a shallow grave, which the defense also alleges never happened. Baldwin said there was hair found. Oh, this is what we heard. There was hair found in Abby's hand that did not belong to Richard Allen. Apparently, this hair was hair that belonged to a woman, but they don't know who, right? They said yesterday in court, 13 months in solitary confinement. Okay, 13 months. Yeah, because I remember it was like over a year from what Andrew Burkhart said. Day 2, former Delphi police chief Steve Mullen testified about the search for Abby and Libby when they were first reported missing. Mullen said the initial belief was that the girls may have fallen from the bridge and were injured. Again, this is what the bridge... Oh, did I already take it down? Oh, I had a picture of the bridge. Yeah, rewind a little bit. We saw a picture of the bridge. It was very scary. I wouldn't be crossing that bridge. It looks very scary. All right, so they believe that the girls may have fallen from the bridge and were uninjured. February 14, 2017, authorities received a call at 12:15 p.m. from Pat Brown, who said he found 2 bodies south of Morning Heights Cemetery. The jury saw a drone video taken from about adult height showing a human's view as they walked from Freedom Bridge to the far end of Monon High Bridge. The video was taken February 13, 2024. Delphi resident Jake Johns, who participated in the search, testified about finding a tie-dye shirt in the creek and alerting a fireman. John's coworker called Pat Brown, who he knew lived on the north side of the creek, and asked him to walk down from the cemetery to investigate, leading to the discovery of the girls' bodies. Oh, that's how they found them. Okay. Delphi resident Pat Brown, who found the girls' bodies, said at first approach he thought the bodies were mannequins. Oh, that's so scary. 14 months confinement. Okay. All right, day 3. Carroll County Deputy Darren John Cola, I think, who was one of the first law enforcement officers on the scene, testified about the scene where the girls' bodies were found. John Cola said he did not see their bodies as he walked south from the cemetery to the creek, but did see a multicolored shirt and 1 Nike shoe in the creek when he was called to the scene. John Cola said Libby's body was unclothed while Abby was clothed. John Cola recalled seeing a significant amount of blood on their bodies and on the ground. Abby's clothes and shoes appeared to be damp, presumably from crossing the creek. It was determined that Abby's body was wearing Libby's jeans and sweatshirt, while Abby's clothing and Libby's t-shirt were found in the creek inside out. There's also something really big that the defense wanted to introduce in, and it was essentially saying that, was the defense trying to say that Libby and Abby could have been murdered in like a ritual killing because of the way their bodies was placed, and it seemed unnatural, and how there was like sticks covering them, but like the way that the sticks were covering them didn't seem like someone was trying to hide the body, right? It seems like it was like some sort of like symbolism thing. I think that's what the defense wanted to introduce, but the judge didn't allow that. However, maybe as the trial progresses, maybe something will happen, and then the judge will allow that to be introduced. But I think that was like a huge major thing for the defense, that this type of killing seems like it was some sort of like some sort of weird ritual. What? Now people are suspicious of Libby's sister, which is ridiculous. Oh, because of the hair? Well, wouldn't they be able to match the hair to the sister if it was the sister? I remember when they found the bodies, it was insane. Wow. He did tell the warden that he cut them with a box knife, threw it in a CVS dumpster. They matched the hair to Kelsey German. Oh, the sister. Okay. Gotcha. But now they think it's like the sister. I mean, does she have an alibi? She probably does. I don't know. Did they look into that? Grubb says it was never a ritual killing. Yeah, they were trying to say it was ritualistic. Gotcha. Yeah, and the judge did not allow that. All right. Sergeant Jason Page, a crime scene investigator with Indiana State Police, took the jury through 44 images. Yikes. Tree branches were found on the girls' bodies. A large branch appeared over Libby's upper body. During a heated cross-exam between defense attorney Brad Rossi and Jason Page, Rossi asked several questions regarding the unspent bullet. Rossi asked why there were more pictures taken of the bullet on the ground, and why there were no pictures of the bullet while it was being removed from the ground and after it was removed from the scene. Attorneys raised several questions about the sticks and branches found on and around the girls' bodies during the Monday's session. Photos of Libby's body, the sticks, the blood found in the area were shown in court. Defense questioned investigators on whether they thought someone may have placed the sticks there. Page said, "It's very reasonable to believe it was placed there by a human act." ISP CSI Dwayne Datzman testified to being the CSI who discovered the bullet found between the girls' bodies. Defense attorney Andrew Baldwin tried to emphasize how many defense attorneys does Richard Allen have? 2? Was there 2 that was assigned to him? Apparently there were some issues with the defense attorneys, and the judge tried to have them thrown out. And then I think the Supreme Court decided that that was something that the judge couldn't do at that point. And so the defense attorneys were brought back to represent Richard Allen. Because I remember there was like some weird stuff that I heard about that too. Like someone went to the office in the defense team and like leaked some photos or something like that. It was crazy. Is it a DP case? I don't know. Is it a DP case? Kelsey German's interviews, are so heartbreaking. It was symbolic to him. Dragged a bit by feet, hence why blood was dripping upwards instead of downwards. It could be a budding serial killer. It could be a budding serial killer, and then it was symbolic to him. Gotcha, Dominique. Defense attorney Andrew Baldwin tried to emphasize the defense's interest in the bullet at the crime scene, arguing that they believe more photos should be taken of the bullet found at the scene. The sticks, the branches laid on top of the girls were not collected at the time, even though it had some blood on them. They were deemed to not be of evidentiary value, so they were left. On March 10, 2017, Datzman was asked to go get them. He relied on memory and the photos to make sure he grabbed the correct limb, branches, and twigs. Oh boy. Lawyer Lee also felt there were 2 people there. Oh, is Lawyer Lee also attending the trial in person? There's that recording the voice of the man who met them on the bridge. ISP CSI Brian O'Leahy, the lead CSI at the crime scene, testified about the documentation and the collection of evidence. Day 4. CSI Brian O'Leahy, the lead CSI at the crime scene, continued his testimony detailing evidence collected at the scene and the items collected at the autopsy. Assay kits were done on both girls at autopsy. On cross-examination, O'Leahy said no specific photos were taken of the ground after the .40 caliber round was removed. He said there were no photos taken of the round itself after it was removed. Defense attorney Bradley Rossi represented the swabs to O'Leahy and asked if any of his information on them was linked to Allen. Olehi said no. Lieutenant Brian Bunner, a digital forensic expert, testified about his role in the examination information captured from Libby's phone. Lieutenant Bunner said the timeline report showed a video. It was a video taken at 2:13 on February 13, 2017. Quick question. When did you guys first hear about the Delphi murders? I think I was watching a true crime video. I think it was either that chapter or Coffee House Crime, maybe? It was one of those like creepy footages that was caught before, victims were found or something like that. I think that's where I first learned about this case. Oh, really? She's at the trial? Oh, maybe a month ago, Michael? Okay. So it's captured on 2:13 p.m., February 13, 2017, the day Abby and Libby were last seen alive. You heard it on the news. It was years ago. The video, which lasted 35 to 40 seconds, was shown once on a large television monitor in the courtroom. The video shows Libby filming herself and Abby on the Delphi High Bridge. At one point, the camera points up and you can see that there is no one behind Abby. However, in a later shot, it shows a man walking behind her. That man has been called the Bridge Man. A girl's voice was heard in the video, and when Libby's mother heard the voice, presumed to be her daughter, she started to cry and become very emotional. The young lady was talking as she was walking at the end of the bridge. Reporters in court heard the voices say, "There's no path. The trail ends here. So we have to go down here?" ? Several reporters said the tone of the comments sounded like a question. Shortly after the girl's voice stopped, reporters in court say they heard a voice believed to be a man, but it was unclear what was said. The video from the bridge was not enhanced, and it was only played once for the jury to watch and hear. Fuck, man, if I was a jury, I'd be like, can you play it over and over and over again? I would want to hear it over and over again. You saw a YouTube scary, unsolved compilation years ago. No, I don't think Coffee House was around when this was already circulating. Maybe he covered it after the fact. It was either Coffee House, that chapter, or I guess like one of the true crime channels I used to watch back in the day. I heard about it maybe a year before Richard Allen was arrested, probably from where you know. Heard about it the day they went missing. I live really close to Delphi. This is Kelsey. Been following it for years. This is Maureen. I don't think I got into the Delphi case because the content was looking to be glorified, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. ? It's a pretty well known in the true crime sector. They'll probably be able to play it in the deliberation room as much as they want. Yeah, hopefully. There were several screenshots displayed of the man in the video behind Abby. They were shown to the jury. Do you think this could look like a man that's 5'4"? It's hard to really tell. I don't know. Maybe? Could be? Possibly? Jeremy Chapman, an AV technician for ISP who was responsible for enhancing the cell phone audio and video, took the stand. Judge Gohl allowed the enhanced version of the video to be played in the court Tuesday afternoon. It was about 45 seconds long. They played the video in its entirety a second time. Oh, okay, they did. In the video, the girls say, "See, this is the path. There is no path. We have to go down here." Shortly after, a man's voice says, "Guys, down the hill." Chapman said he pulled 3 frames of the still images of Bridge Guy. He cleaned those up by adjusting the contrast and the brightness of the images. He also used de-blurring and filters to enhance the photos. Riley Voorhees testified she was walking on the trail with her sisters and a friend and taking photos near the Monon High Bridge on February 13, 2017. So what do you think Bridge Guy said to the girls to entice them to go down the path? What will be down there? For those of you guys who live near Delphi, who knows about this bridge, what's down there? Is it just like, a path that takes you to the creek or a path that takes you elsewhere? Like, where would you be going with this path? His legs do look short. Yeah. Chapman said he pulled 3 frames. Oh, I already read this. Okay, so Rayleigh Voorhees testified that she was walking the trail with her sisters and friends. Voorhees testified, showed the jury her path to the bridge on the map. That trail was across from Freedom Bridge and across from the Monon High Bridge. While walking along the trail to go home, she said she didn't see anyone the path past Freedom Bridge. However, she said she did see a man who did not wave back at her and did not seem to be a happy person near the Freedom Bridge. The state showed a photo of the bridge guy, and Voorhees says, that's the man I waved at on the trail. 2 other witnesses testified to being on the trail that day and seeing Bridge Guy. That was day 4. Is Delphi that bad? It looks like a pretty trail. Honestly, I don't know. This is not like an area where murders happen. Like, never. This is the only murder I've ever heard of. Yeah, I hear this is like a really small town. Small town, things like this don't happen. Definitely shock the community. All right, day 5. Sarah Carball testified she was walking her dog on Mountain High Bridge Trail on February 13, 2017. Around 4 p.m. that day, she saw a man covered in mud, blood, walking alongside the road. Carball said, "I looked at him, but he did not make eye contact with me. I'm going to be labeling him Bridge Guy because that's who I know him by." Carball said she recognized the man showed in the photo on the local news as the man she had seen on the road. She eventually talked with local police investigators 3 weeks later. Why 3 weeks later? She said she had been traumatized by the murders. My inaction was me overthinking and panicking. I was having a moment. Carball saw a police officer at a roadblock in Delphi asking for tips regarding the case. She said that was a sign from God to report what she saw that day. Oh, interesting. During cross-examination, the defense questioned Carball's account, claiming she changed her story during police interviews more than once. Well, that's not good. Forensic pathologist Dr. Roland Kaur, who performed the autopsy, testified. All right, guys, I think we're going to get some autopsy stuff. I'll try to censor the best I can. The autopsy revealed Abby had a 5 to 6 centimeter long wound, approximately 2 inches long, on the left side of her neck. However, Dr. Koh said it was not a deep cut, only an inch deep in the doctor's words. He stated there was some skin damage to the right side, which he believes suggests the cut was made from right to left. Dr. Kaur observed livor mortis on Abby's body, which he described as the purplish areas where the blood settles after a body has been in the same position for a prolonged period of time. Again, livor mortis. Oh, I thought it was like livor, like Livor. That was mentioned in George Torres's autopsy as well. They said that there was livor mortis, where it seems like, the blood settled on one side of his body, so possibly showing that he was on one side for a long period of time and maybe like on a different side on a different period of time. But I think in his case, it was like him being on his side. That's where the blood was settling. She says they found livor mortis on her upper back and the back of Abby's legs. Kaur said livor mortis sets in after a person has been dead for at least 8 hours. Dr. Kaur said Libby had 4 wounds on her neck and possibly a 5th. 2 of those wounds are overlapped. Kaur observed there was like an X-ray pattern in a large wound of Libby's neck. Dr. Kaur says it's likely that there were 2 passes made that resulted in that wound. He was unsure what he called the middle wound. He believed it would have been a second pass with a weapon, but wasn't certain. He also noted a few small abrasions below Libby's neck. He observed there were changes in the patterns of the cut and said if a person was drawing away as if they were being cut, it would cause some changes. There were 5 marks on the edge of the wound on the right side of Libby's neck. Those marks were 1 millimeter wide with a space between them. Dr. Kaur initially surmised that a serrated knife was used to make the cuts, but he said he had thought about the cut marks in the past few months. He now believes a box cutter was used as the weapon. Kaur said he did not create a supplemental report because he felt it would be speculative, but not definitive. Dr. Kaur testified about blood loss and how long it takes for someone to die from such injuries. Dr. Kaur said Libby's blood loss was more rapid than Abby's and estimated she would have gone to shock more quickly. He estimated Libby would have died in 5 to 10 minutes, but guessed that it likely would have been closer to 5 minutes based on the severity of her injuries. Dr. Kaur also noted that Libby had swelling in her brain due to less oxygen. Neither girls had signs of sexual trauma or defensive wounds. Oh, okay, gotcha. But one of the girls was found naked, though. For Libby, the doctor suggests she was dragged from another location based on the debris found on her legs. He also said that the serrated area of the wound could be from the handle of the instrument or weapon. ISP Sergeant Chris Cecil testified about re-examining Libby's iPhone. Data revealed Abby and Libby each accessed social media accounts on the phone on February 13, 2017. Data from the Apple Health app, said the last time the phone logged movement was 2:32:39 seconds p.m. on February 13, 2017. Cecil testified from 2019 to 2024, there continued to be new updates of software and programs on the phone, so they attempted to pull more data from it. The phone was reprocessed. Cecil said that when another digital forensic expert plugged the phone into charge, it added a small amount of data, but did not change any information. Cecil said the state that when the examiner shut the phone down on February 15, 2027? 2027. It would have reset the power on-off log, which prompted the defense to ask, we will never know exactly when the phone powered off. Cecil agreed. Cecil examined 23 devices taken from the home of Richard Allen on November 8, 2022. He said the data recovered showed no communications between those devices and Williams or German. Cecil added there were no connections to Allen having any connection to the girls' deaths. Cecil testified that he did, however, find an internet search history regarding Abby and Libby in the news articles on one of Allen's devices. So what is the evidence that they have tying Richard Allen to the crime scene? So owning the 6-hour, the gun, the confession, I guess. But the confession was after he'd already been in solitary confinement for a bit. And I guess the confession didn't even match with how the girls were murdered. What else do they have on Richard Allen? Dominique says, I'm worried they have the wrong person. What else was there? What else am I forgetting? I mean, they have the videos, which could look like Richard Allen. But what other evidence do they have tying him to the scene? Like DNA, anything like that? Prosecuting attorney McLeland pointed out that Allen's cell phone from 2017 was not among the 23 devices taken. Investigators say they have no idea where that device might be. All right, that was day 5. Rhiannon sounds sketchy. No DNA, nothing. I don't know. It might sound like it might be tough for them to prosecute him. Day 6. Kathy Shank, a retired CPS worker and volunteer clerk who organized and evaluated approximately 14,000 tips given to law enforcement after the murders, took the stand to talk about her work on the case. Jesus, 14,000 tips. Shank began working the case in March 2017. The tips filled 5 filing cabinets. In 2020, the paperwork was digitized in a process that took 2 years. When investigators moved buildings in 2022, Shank said she found a box and drawer with a lead sheet from February 16, 2017, labeled Richard Allen Whiteman. The tip indicated that Allen had been on the trail on February 13th. Shank said the file had the word clear written on it and said, I don't know how that tip ended up in that box. The name on the file was changed from Richard Allen Whiteman to Richard Allen. On September 21st, 2022, Whiteman is the name of the street on which Allen lived. The file revealed that Allen self-reported that he was on the trail the last day the girls were seen. Shank said that was the only tip provided. Daniel Doolin, a former lieutenant with the Indiana State Police, testified to his work on the case following up on the leads. Doolin called Allen on February 18, 2017, after picking up the lead sheet. He asked to meet at Allen's house, but Allen preferred to meet at a grocery store parking lot. Doolin testified that Allen told him he had been on Monon High Bridge Trail on February 13, 2017, from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. So that would have been during the times of the murders. A change from his original statement to the police, which was that he was there from 1 to 3. Doolin described the interaction as brief, and the interview was not recorded. When was this again? This was in 2022. I mean, Jesus, you're interviewing him like 5 years later. I wouldn't be surprised if his original story was, his original story changed, I guess. Doolin said in September 2022, former Delphi Police Chief Steve Mullen told him that Allen's height on his fishing license changed in April 2017 from 5'4" to 5'6". The listed weight on his license dropped by 15 pounds. I don't know. I wish record everything. Please record everything. While canvassing the crime scene, Doolin said that he found sticks, branches with blood on them that were piled to a 5-foot area. This was after after the area had been released by authorities. He called the investigation center and asked them to return to the scene to collect the sticks. I don't know why they didn't collect the sticks to begin with. Former Delphi Police Chief Steve Mullen testified to his October 2022 interview with Allen. The interview is on YouTube, right? I feel like I've seen screenshots of his interview before. Are the interviews on YouTube? Mullen said that Allen believed he was driving his Ford Focus when he went on the bridge in 2017. He still owned the car in 2022. Allen said he wore blue jeans, blue or black Carhartt jacket, a skull cap, and military-style boots or sneakers. Allen reported seeing 3 women, one older, 2 younger, on the trail that day. When Mullen asked Allen if he was the bridge guy, Allen responded, "If the picture was the one that was taken on the girl's camera, there's no way it could be me." Carroll County Sheriff Tony Leggett testified he reviewed the tip about Allen that Shank found in September 2022. Corgi, man, you're a relentless reader. I would have quit after 2.5 pages. It's because when I was younger, okay, reading was so fucking hard and I wanted to show myself. Like, I'll show you I can read. I struggled with reading when I was young. It was so fucking hard. He said it stuck out. I wasn't aware anyone had seen 3 girls on the trail that day. We believe it was Bridge Guy, Leggett said. The jury saw the video again, this time enhanced to stabilize the man and to listen what was being said. Guys, down the hill. The victim's family could be heard crying in the courtroom while the video played. Where Owens at asking for a mistrial. Leggett took photos of Allen's Ford Focus at the CVS drugstore where he worked and noted that it was parked back into the spot. Leggett testified to items found at Allen's house in September 2022 when officers served a search warrant, which included a 40 caliber handgun, ammunition, single 40 caliber bullet in a keep-safe box, and a blue Carhartt jacket and a gun registered to Allen. Damn, but by the time they searched his house, it was like 5 years later. 5 years later. You're dyslexic. I cannot read out loud to save my life. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. We read a lot of court transcripts, so I think that really helped a lot. But, you know, when I start getting hungry, you know, because that's when I start tripping up all of my words. The what now? Is Sarah in the same place where Eileen Wuornos was? I don't know. I don't know who Eileen Wuornos is. Who is Eileen? A jury would have to sort this out. Yeah, I don't envy the jury's job. ISP Detective David Vito assisted in the search of Allen's home on October 13, 2022, and showed pictures to the jury that included a Ford Focus parked outside. During the search, nearly 30 knives, at least 4 box cutters found inside the home were confiscated, along with 12 phones, 2 pagers, and 2 SD cards. Yeah, this is like 5 years later. All the items were tested, but nothing came back to link the items to the crime scene. ISP Lieutenant Jerry Holman testified to his supervision of the search. He sat in the car with Allen, and when he asked Allen if he wanted to fill out any forms for items taken, Allen said to him, "It doesn't matter. It's over." Again, we don't have any recording of this. Holman said that Allen repeated himself twice. Eileen Wuornos killed 7 men in their 90s? Eileen? Serial killer? I've never heard of her before. What was her motive? His daughter looks so much like Libby. He took a photo of his daughter sitting down on the bridge a few years later. Weird. Maybe it's a really famous bridge and it's very scenic. Ooh. To be Ford Focus is a probable cause. All right, day 7. Oh no, are we done? Oh no, we're not done yet. Yay, okay, day 7. Oh, this is the long day. Why is this so short? So I will say though, sometimes when we cover court cases and I'll go back and read the court TV's summarized version, I'm like, yo, y'all missed so much. There's so much in here that you guys could have included. Melissa Oberg, a forensic firearms examiner, explained and demonstrated to jurors how a semi-automatic pistol cycles cartridges to the gun. Jurors watched 2 videos showing how 6Rs are manufactured. On cross-examination, Brad Rossi questions the witness on qualifications, lack of firearm-specific experience, and possible ID errors. The witness admits to omission and uncertainty about whether current gun marks match those from 2017, though similarities are possible. Rossi questions the witness's testing methods and focuses on a spent round over an unfired one, highlighting the witness's lack of proficiency with unfired rounds. The witness confirms that the conclusions are based on a spent round, noting no distinctive marks or dirt, and discusses the limitations of determining the timing of cycling marks on evidence. Apparently, she testified for the entire day. Hope the jurors had snacks, little snackies. Day 8. Lieutenant Jerry Holman, the lead investigator, testified about the interrogation of Richard Allen before his arrest. Holman said that before he interviewed Allen, he believed without a doubt the bullet found in the crime scene near the Delphi High Bridge belonged to Allen. Why? Part of the interrogation, which took place October 26, 2022, was not recorded due to technical issues. Come on now, you couldn't have just like recorded the voice? Something? Okay. Was not recorded due to technical issues, testified Holman. Man, I feel like it should be mandatory to have these things recorded. During the interview, Holman said Allen claimed no one had ever borrowed any of his clothes, car, or caliber or .40 caliber handgun. Allen never explained how a round found at the scene, one believed to have cycled through Allen's gun, could have gotten there. Allen told police he never carried his gun unless he was fishing or mushroom hunting. He also said he did not have it with him while walking on the trails on February 13, 2017. Holman testified Allen said, "There's no way it's my bullet or that it came from my gun." When Allen was asked how he usually carried a gun, he responded he used a side holster. Allen told Holman he usually carried his pistol with one round in his chamber. Holman testified Allen denied his involvement 20 to 50 times. Holman testified Allen told him it's already over. As police were searching his home while executing a search warrant, Holman asked Allen why he said that, to which Allen replied, "The damage was done. You already interviewed my neighbors, my coworkers. They all think I am guilty." I mean, honestly, this statement can go both ways. It could be like, okay, he's saying it's already over because he's fucking guilty, and he's like, fuck, I'm done. Or he could just be saying it because, well, y'all already think I'm guilty. Everyone already thinks I'm guilty. I'm fucked. Right? So I think the statement can go both ways. Her girlfriend turned on her and she never recovered from her. Wait, who? Oh, are we talking about the other person? There was a movie called Monster. Charlize Theron played her in a movie. Wait, why does it sound so familiar? Monster. She was sentenced to death and executed in 2022. Oh, 2002. Hey, Mayor, how are you doing today? We were covering Sarah Boone, and then we started talking about the Delphi case, and I was like, you know what? I want to read this with y'all. So if you guys wanted to watch the Sarah Boone stuff, just forward to the beginning of the stream, and it's all the Sarah Boone stuff, the interrogation. And I guess I could update the title and say, like, oh, plus Delphi or something. No, I've never heard of Eileen Warren. No, she killed them for money because she said they were going to tar her. No, I don't think I've heard of her before. American serial killer while engaging in street prostitution along with highways. She shot dead, robbed 7 of her male clients. She was I don't think I've heard of her before. Oh, interesting. Maybe I have. Maybe I've heard of them before. I don't know. It just doesn't ring a bell right now. Cordelia, the movie was wildly inaccurate, portrayed Warnos as a victim instead of the sick F that she really was, says Rhiannon. Psychopathy cannot be rehabilitated. All right, so back to Mr. Allen. Holman testified police often will lie during interrogation interviews to elicit a reaction from a possible suspect. Yep. Holman shared that he had told Allen there had been witnesses who said they had seen Allen on the bridge. He also told Allen that an expert had determined that Allen was the man known as Bridge Guy in the video taken by Libby German on February 13, 2017. Holman admitted he lied to Allen when he talked about the death penalty and how it was still on the line. I don't think DP is on the line for him. What state is this again? Delphi. Where's Delphi again? Delphi. Indiana. This case seems rather shaky. Yeah, I just don't know if they're going to be able to... I don't know. I mean, the state's not done yet, right? We're still on the state is still presenting. I don't know. I mean, I hope they, if they have it, hopefully they have the evidence to back it up. Holman testified the police will lie. Holman shared that he had told Allen there had been witnesses who said he had seen Allen on the bridge. He also told Allen that an expert had determined that Allen was the man known as Bridge Guy in the video taken by Libby German on February 13, 2017. Holman admitted he lied to Allen when he talked about death penalty and how it was still on the line. He said, Allen replied, "I'm not going to tell you something I didn't do." During the interview, Holman testified Allen said, "Take all your evidence and just arrest me." During cross-examination, defense attorney Andrew Baldwin questioned the interrogation methods used by Holman, specifically mentioning Allen's family. Holman testified he was simply trying to elicit a response from Allen. Defense attorney Andrew Baldwin asked why the beginning of Allen's interview, when Holman claimed he read Allen his Miranda rights, was not recorded. Holman claimed technical issues. Oh man, technical issues. Hey Cordelia, yeah, we were just talking about the Delphi murder, so I was like, you know what, I want to read this court TV trial recap. Carolina, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care, Carolina. Baldwin then suggested that that was one of his many missing videotape recordings of the Richard Allen case. Well, that's not good. Baldwin also spent time asking Holman about the strand of hair found in Abby Williams' hand at the crime scene. Previous testimony from experts during the trial said it was a hair from a woman, possibly a relative of Libby. Baldwin asked why investigators never tested DNA from Libby's family after they discovered that. Holman said, "We decided not to test family hair because of the resources at the time, and we had no family female suspect." Shouldn't you just test it just in case? Day 9. Stacy Bozinovsky, a forensic psychologist, forensic scientist, and DNA analyst, testified about items taken from the crime scene and the essay kits collected from Abby and Libby. Bozinovsky said most of the swabs from the crime scene contained blood from Abby or Libby or mixture of both. The single strand of hair found in Abby's hands was determined to have come from Kelsey German, Libby's German's older sister. Kelsey drove the girls to the trail on February 13, 2017, and the last day they were seen by their families. Bozinovsky noted there was some male DNA found under the girls' fingernails and also from external genital swabs, but she added there was no sufficient DNA found. Oh, geez. That's a tough one. Bozinovsky showed the jury the cartridge found at the crime scene. She said it had a plant material on it and light brown dirt-like stain. She swabbed it to collect skin cells for DNA. She testified Monday morning that it was very difficult to get DNA samples from unspent cartridges. Bozinovsky found there was insufficient quantity of DNA for analysis. Boo. Bozinovsky says water from the creek made it difficult to remove any DNA and may have diluted any that there was. Bozinovsky said investigators sent 72 rootless hair fibers to the FBI for testing. 3 of them came back with DNA that was inconsistent with that taken of Abby and Libby. Bozinovsky decided not to do additional testing due to the likelihood that the fiber hairs would be destroyed. When asked if she found DNA belonging to Richard Allen on any tested item, Bozinovsky replied, "No, I did not." Oh, gosh. The defense questioned why DNA wasn't tested on the 3 rootless hairs that were termed inconsistent with DNA found from Abby and Libby. Again, Bozinovsky's claimed that she did not want to risk it. Maybe they can use those hairs for the future. You know, maybe like if they develop some new scientific way to test those hairs without damaging it, maybe that's what they can do. Eileen was electrocuted in Florida, only woman to be put to death. Oh, gotcha. I'm gonna do homework with the kids. Have fun with the homework stuff. You had deja vu, Moondog. Jurors wanted to go home in the Boone trial already. Bunch of lazy jurors. What happened with the Boone trial? Blood splatter expert Patrick Cicero reset the crime scene for the jury, testifying about the injuries Abby and Libby suffered and his opinion on their positioning when killed. All right. Day 10. All right, where were we? Day 10. Day 10, 10/29, that was yesterday. Video evidence of Richard Allen's interview with police was seen in court for the first time. Are the interviews, are they online or just screenshots of it? On October 13, 2022, Allen met with the Indiana State Police at the ISP post in Lafayette. He was interviewed by former Delphi Police Chief Steve Mullen and Carroll County Sheriff Tony Leggett. Regarding his first interview with the authorities in 2017, Allen said that he went to the Carroll County Sheriff's Office to provide the tip of seeing 3 girls on the trail. When an officer called to discuss the tip, Allen said that he was headed to the grocery store. Allen paused and apologized, saying, "Forgive me. It's been years. I've thought about it a lot." He said he left the trails around 1:30 to 1:45 on February 13, 2017, but added that he forgot the timing, really. On the videotape of the interview, Leggett asked Allen how he got to the bridge after he parked. Allen said he walked along the road. Allen said he remembers seeing cars parked at the Mears entrance, but he said he was focused on trading stocks during his walk. Allen couldn't recall exactly what he was wearing that day, but he said he was wearing blue jeans, likely a Carhartt jacket, tennis shoes, military-style combat boots. He said in 2017 his jacket would have probably have been black. "I have sweatshirts, hoodies, I have a little bit of everything." Yeah, that'd be so hard to recall, like, what were you wearing? Investigators then asked Richard Allen if they could examine his phone. Allen asked, "How long would you have my phone?" Mullen read Allen the phone rights, to which Allen responded, "I'm not going to be somebody's fall guy. I was trying to be helpful. It honestly amazes me we're even talking. I don't want to be somebody's fall guy. This doesn't feel like a conversation. It seems like you've already think I've done this." Leggett told Allen they were just crossing T's and dotting I's. Oh, man. The video played in court shows Allen preparing to give his phone to the police, but he pulls back and says he needs to talk to his wife first. Indiana State Police investigator Jerry Holman. Does anyone know what is Richard Allen's wife? What does she think about this? Are they still together? Indiana State Police investigator Jerry Holman interviewed Allen on October 26, 2022. Portions of the interview were played for the jury. The video shows Allen denying any wrongdoing dozens of times. Holman told Allen he had been the last person to contact Abby and Libby. Allen again denied knowing them or ever interacting with them. The insides of Allen's mouth was swabbed for DNA by ISP investigators without any pushback from Allen. Holman continued to press Allen for a confession, telling him the ball was in his court. Allen responded, "You just took my DNA," and then seemed to laugh in disbelief. Jurors saw Richard Allen and his wife interact in the interrogation room. After Allen's wife left, Holman's demeanor changed and Allen became more reserved. "If you're going to pay me for what you've done in my life, if you want to fuck with me, you can fuck with me, but leave my wife out of this," said Allen. Holman screamed at Allen, "You killed those fucking girls. I know you did." Ooh, things are getting heated. Christina Ricci played her girlfriend, but in the movie, the girlfriend had a different name. Eileen's girlfriend was named Tyra, and I can't remember what her name was in the movie, but I know it wasn't Tyra. The families have paranormal. Oh gosh. For this one? For this case or a different case? Wait a second. Hold on. Didn't we talk about a case where they had like a paranormal person come in and testified? And I was like, how the hell did they let this person testify about this? Hold on. What was that? Didn't we read about that recently? There's a woman that testified, and then she started talking about the paranormal stuff and how she held a seance to talk to the dead girls. Was it this case? Or was it a different one? Oh my gosh, hold on. I completely forgot about that. But it was something that we read recently. Jurors heard testimony from officials at Westville Correctional Facility that said Allen confessed multiple times to the killings. None of these confessions were videotaped or recorded. Oh my God, why? All of them were written accounts of what Allen said the deputies assigned to monitor Allen's behavior and log what he told them. Seems like a nonsensical thing to do. I forgot. I don't know if it was this case. I feel like there was someone that testified, and then they started talking about how they held like a seance or something to talk about how the victims died. They were able to connect with the victims, and like I was like, oh gosh, like rolling my eyes. WCF deputies also testified that Allen harmed himself while in custody, including banging his head on the wall, eating his feces, and drinking out of the toilet. Jesus. I think that's yeah, that's it. That's it so far. I definitely look forward to see how long this case is going to be. Oh, I guess I could have just read this synopsis. Let's see. Let me read this. Indiana man is facing up to 130 years in prison if convicted of killing 2 teenagers who were hiking just outside Delphi. 130 years. I don't know. We're going to need a lot more evidence. 52. Richard Allen is facing the murdering of 13-year-old Abigail Abby Williams and 14-year-old Liberty Libby German on February 13, 2017. Prosecutors say Allen acted alone when he abducted the girls from the abandoned railroad trestle known as Monon High Bridge. A key piece of evidence in the case is a cell phone video captured by Libby showing a man approaching the girls on the bridge and ordering them down the hill. The following day, searchers found their bodies about a quarter of a mile away on a private property. The case garnered national attention for years, but went cold until October 2022, when authorities announced they had arrested Allen, a pharmacy technician who lived and worked in Delphi. Since Allen's arrest, the case has been taking multiple twists and turns as evidence was leaked. Read about that. Allen's public defenders withdrew and were later reinstated. Defense filings claim Odinus were responsible for the girl's slaying, so that's again the ritualistic thing that I was talking about earlier. And Special Judge Fran Goll has ruled Allen's defense cannot submit any evidence that states the murders were committed by a third party at trial. But I wonder if that's something that could change, right, as the trial progresses. Judge Goll has banned cameras from the courtroom during Allen's trial. Reporters are also barred from taking any electronic devices inside the courthouse. Boo. All right. Well, I just wanted to read this, and since we were already streaming, I was like, I'm going to just read it on stream. Richard Allen defense says the authorities arrested the wrong guy. How can it be the wrong guy? He confessed 61 times. Could confessions be coerced? The only thing I've heard so far, Carolina, was that, and this is from Andrew Barkhart, who attended the trials, or the trial, was that the confession came out when he was already in solitary confinement for like over a year. And so maybe at that point he was like kind of like mentally deteriorating. He's like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to confess to make it easier for my family. I don't know. That's all I've heard so far. The defense is the cult did it for rituals. Dominique, but he started to confess to all sorts of weird things too. Has there been any Sarah Boone updates lately? Cordelia for Sarah Boone stuff. Oh yeah, the Sarah Boone stuff. They uploaded court docs, and the verdict form, where it showed Sarah Boone guilty, they showed the name of the jury foreperson. Because the jury foreperson wrote their name on there. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know if they want their name on there. But yeah, Sarah Boone stuff. We just listened to interviews by Mr. James Owens, essentially talking about how he was trying to urge Sarah Boone to take the plea deal. And yeah, Sarah Boone was really shocked. So if you guys haven't seen that yet, I will today work on that video, and then you guys can watch it, or you can rerun it back to the live stream, and then you can watch it there. Either way, I guess I have some videos I have to edit today. Yikes. But for Sarah Boone stuff, we have her sentencing December 2nd with Judge Kranick. And Mr. Owens did say that Sarah Boone will be speaking at the sentencing. So we're like, okay, like, you know, what is she going to say? Is she going to say sorry? Is she going to feel bad? Or is she going to be like, I didn't do this, or I don't deserve this? George is a bad person. So I don't know. We're wondering what Sarah Boone's going to say. Yes, I think they said that he confessed to killing his family, his grandchildren, and they're like, you don't have grandchildren. So I don't know. Dominique, I don't think he was a weirdo. I think he was just a guy that was there. I'll be honest, investigation was almost as bad as Karen Reed's. Like the defense said, the police ignored a lot of ritualistic findings in the area where bodies were found. Rhiannon B, I pray they aren't they aren't just trying him to try someone. I hope that we have to trust the process, and the start will produce very clear evidence. It was unintentional. Yeah, maybe she'll say that. It was unintentional. All right, y'all. Well, I'm starting to get hungry. So I'm gonna go eat some lunch. And yeah, today we covered Sarah Boone stuff. There's 2 interviews that we watched with Mr. James Owens, one with Court TV, one with News Nation, and then they cut him off. I don't know if you guys can find the rest of the News Nation interview. Let me know, because they cut off Mr. James Owens, and I was like, what happened? Mr. James Owens was talking more, you know? Corey, if offered the chance, would you play the lead in a Hollywood movie of Suitcase Murderer? Acting sounds too hard. I'm good. Maybe if I was a detective. I don't know. That could be interesting. I don't know. That sounds too hard, though. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for hanging out. And then afterwards, we just briefly talked about Lori Vallow. She's going, she wants to represent herself. Her attorneys have withdrew. We'll see what happens with fucking crazy Lori Vallow. And then we talked about the timeline of the Delphi case. It's happening right now. It's not being live streamed, but I am very curious about it. I'm very, very curious to see what the outcome's going to be, and if there's going to be more evidence showing that it was Richard Allen that did it, or maybe there will be a lack of evidence. I don't know. Maybe that's all they're going to have is just like that footage, the confessions, and the gun. I don't know. I'm seeing what else the state has up their sleeves. RP, hi Corgi, hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. Thank you. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Thank you so much for those who joined the memberships, and I really appreciate the super chats. I really do. Thank you so much for your support. And I really appreciate you guys just hanging on the chat, just chatting with me, keeping me busy. Because I was going to read the Delphi stuff on my own, but I was like, oh, you guys are already here. Let's just read it together. I don't mind. Hidden True Crime is doing, good coverage. Okay. Are they also attending the trial in person as well? Because I was just going to watch Andrew Barkhart. Thanks for reading the Delphi trials. I've been meaning to catch up on that. Rain. Oh, yeah. What are you guys doing for Halloween? I'll play the Woodbridge bottle. Who wants to be the Pop-Tart? Oh, gosh. Byron. Yeah, guys, if you guys haven't already, feel free to join the Discord. I will announce when I go live first on my Discord. You get like maybe like a 5 to 10 minutes heads up, but it's better than nothing, right? So join the Discord. We have a true crime section. If you want to discuss any true crime related stuff about this case, other cases, feel free, post it in there. If there's anything you want me to cover, post it in there. You should take a look. Baseball stuff. You know, I don't really pay attention to the baseball stuff, but I heard the Dodgers lost by a lot. Was it like 4-11? So the only reason why I know that is because I went to go play pickleball and it was fucking dead. And I was like, yes, they're all watching the Dodgers game. But at the same time, the Dodgers game, because we're so close to the Dodger Stadium and all that, it's annoying because when they win their games, there's fireworks everywhere. And Shiro does not like the fireworks. So it's like, been driving him nuts a little bit lately. It's like 4th of July for him almost every day. So some guy named Gary Hughes on YouTube measured the guy in the bridge and came up between 5'3", 5'7". Have a good night. This case scares me. What if RA isn't the real killer/killers? That means that they are still out there and a said man will go in prison for the rest of his life. Where's the justice in that? Yeah, that's why I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with this trial. I want to keep, I'm going to check it out to see if they have more evidence. Apparently, the jury was told by the defense in opening statement, was like, just wait for us to go. We're gonna basically just promising them to like, just wait for us, okay? Because once you hear from our side of the story, you're really gonna believe that it wasn't Richard Allen. So I'm very curious about that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Again, feel free to join the Discord. I moved my vlogs to a second channel. Feel free to check that out if you guys like. And yeah, that's about it. And then for Twitch, I tried to buy Silent Hill yesterday, but they were sold out. I don't know what happened. I feel like Silent Hill has been out for a couple weeks now. So I went to GameStop to buy Silent Hill, sold out, no used copies. And I was like, wah. There's this other game that I wanted to play. It's like a Shinchan game. Shiro's, I think it's called like Shiro's Coal Mine Adventures or something like that. It looked really fucking cute with Nintendo Switch. But they don't sell it in any, it's hard to get in the US or something. I think you can only buy it from the Nintendo store. So that's kind of annoying. You will blame the forensics. His name isn't even George. It's Jorge. Sorry, I don't know the spelling. I don't know if the parents named him George or Jorge, but I just went by what people said and the body cam. George calls himself George in the body cam, so I'm just going by what George says. So I think when I first covered the case, I think I called him Jorge. I hate how it's so secret. It's weird. I know. I'm like, can we get transparency? Can we get the live stream? But I don't know. Note to everyone, fight for your rights. Don't believe what the cops tell you. I mean, if you committed the crime, make it easier, okay? Make it easier. Be a dumb criminal, all right? Have it in your Google search history. Go visit the crime scene again, But yes, be careful. Silent Hill 2's on your list too? Yes! I was gonna do PC, but I heard there was issues with the PC port and the game wasn't running very smoothly. Because for me, I'm just like, I'm fucking lazy. I'm too lazy to go to the game store and buy the damn physical copy. Although I like to because I like to sell it back once I'm done. But yeah, I heard there was issues. I don't know if there's any updates that has corrected it and then it's better now. But yeah, I definitely want a copy of the game. Get a lawyer for talking to the police. Yeah, and then also, like, you can never trust, like, what if you have, like, a really bad investigation, bad police, bad attorneys, and then judge, like, yeah, you want to make sure your rights are protected. Because, like, if you're just trying to be, like, a good Samaritan and you're there trying to help them out, like, I don't know, man, maybe they could use it against you. So you can't always expect them to be, I don't know, to be trusting. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a good one. Take care. I mean, it's possible that his given name when born was Jorge, and then he's like, well, I want to be George. So I was going by off what George and what Sarah calls him. Criminals are dumb. Just look at Sarah. The only thing missing with Sarah Boone was there's no search history. I'm surprised she didn't do a search history. How long does it take for someone to die in the suitcase after I beat them with a bat? Maybe she was too drunk to type that out. All right, guys. Well, have a good one. Take care. And I will see you guys the next time. Okay, I'll see you guys the next time. Have a good one. What's the moderation settings? I don't know. Why are you asking me that? What are we trying to do? Trying to push the limits or something? I don't know. Have Have a good day, Corgi and everyone. Good night or good day. Why say good night? Well, maybe it's night for you guys. Some of you guys might be nighttime. All right, I'm gonna work on the videos. Keep an eye out on that. We'll post the videos. We watched the George's family's interview and Mr. Owens. We'll post that onto YouTube. All right, guys, have a good one. Take care, and I will see you guys later. And then for the Delphi timeline of me just reading it on Court TV, I guess I could just post that too for those of you guys who are like, I don't know much about the Delphi case, but I'm kind of curious, but I'm too lazy to read on my own. So we'll post that. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Bye.